Chapter 607. Hearing that Jiraiya intended to return to Mount Myaboku, Kakashi sighed in his heart. He looked at Jiraiya with a complicated expression, but in the end he didn't say anything. Once the general trend of the world is formed, it's like a rolling torrent. It's not something that can be resisted by humans. Gathering the power of the 5 great ninja villages to fight against Hinata? If Hinata wants to subvert the ninja world, the ninjas will naturally put aside their past prejudices and unite against Hinata. But Hinata just wants to unify the ninja world and establish a government ruled by ninjas. The benefits of this are obvious, and what makes the major ninja villages unable to let go of is nothing more than the inheritance of their respective village. The 5 Kages inherited the village from their ancestors, and naturally, they don't want the inheritance of the village to end in their hands. What's more, the several wars that have happened in the past 3 years have already made everyone understand what real power is. Coupled with Hinata's disclosure of the secret of Senjutsu, the disclosure of Senjutsu will undoubtedly speed up the unification of the ninja world. Even if Inoki has been at Tsuchikage for decades, and there are many things in his heart that are difficult to give up, but when he puts down some things in his heart, he may not be like before, wanting to fight to the death to protect his reputation. It's easy to die in battle, but doesn't Inoki want to protect something in his heart? For the sake of the tens of thousands of ninjas in the Rock Village, Inoki won't die easily. Now, after the unification of the ninja world, it's not just simple power, money and other worldly interests, but also the distribution of the 3 holy lands. In fact, as long as you figure out some things, everything will fall into place naturally. Kakashi turned his head and looked at Itachi Uchiha. Itachi Uchiha looked calm and said indifferently, "Next, I will find a beautiful place to live in seclusion and watch the new world you created." Kakashi nodded slowly. Itachi Uchiha can't go back. In that case, I will go back to the village first. After that, Kakashi turned around and left without looking back. Compared with Jiraiya and Itachi Uchiha, Kakashi doesn't think too much. He may be confused about the future, but more than that, he's looking forward to it. In the future, will there really be no more wars? At the gate of Shinobu, the Kage of each village left with a lot of thoughts. Watching the 4 leave, Tsunade stood expressionlessly at the gate of Shinobu. His eyes were full of complex and tangled. After calming himself down, Tsunade naturally understood the purpose of Hinata's purpose. This is a huge benefit that no one can resist. A power so strong that it was impossible to resist, a new distribution of power and benefits, a powerful cultivation method, and the temptation of immortality. When all these things come together, the world's the Shinobus to speed the worlds. Especially the parliamentary system implemented by Hinata, not only did it not weaken the power of the 5 Kages, but once the world is unified and the ninja's coup is successful, the power of the 5 Kages will inevitably be further strengthened. Even if the 5 Kages have Hinata to suppress them, the political power struggle doesn't completely rely on personal strength, temperament, means and tactics. Strength is just a bargaining chip to increase the weight of the words. The only thing the 5 Kages need to worry about is that the future generations are unfilial, and let the people from the small village take the seat of the parliament. Tsunade-sama. Tsunade only has Jinin by his side, and the world is about to change. Shisa Nara naturally has to discuss with the elders of the family how to ensure the survival and interests of the family in the coming new world. Hyuga residence. As the sun set, Hinata finally got up from the bed and sensed the situation in Shinobu. Hinata was relieved. There's no trouble. After eating breakfast, lunch and dinner together, Hinata was called to the family's conference room by the people sent by Hyogo. In the empty room, in addition to Hyogo, there were several elders of the main family. As for the branch family, the representative of Hyuga Hizashi participated in the meeting. After a moment of silence, Hyogo first said in a clear voice, "Everyone, now that the ninja world is about to change, although the Hyuga clan has the advantage, we are also in the teeth of the storm. Great benefits are accompanied by great risks. Once we take a wrong step, the entire family will be doomed in an instant." Although Hyogo said this, few people in the room cared about this kind of thing at all. Now the family not only has Hinata, the number 1 second of the ninja world in the family, Even the ancestors of the family broke through the seal and came to the shinobi world anew. Several people in the conference room have heard that the ancestor Otsutsuki Kagaya has the Byakugan, which is the purest Kekei Genkai of the Otsutsuki clan. There are 2 invincible ninjas in the world, and the power of immortality and indestructibility really exists. As long as Hinata and Otsutsuki Kagaya are there, the Hyuga clan can prosper forever. What's more, now that Hyogo has also opened the Rinnegan, the elite ninjas in the family have also begun to come in contact with Senjutsu. Everyone believes that the Hyuga family in the future will be extremely brilliant and powerful. Hinata. Hyogo turned to look at Hinata. You should say something. Ahem. Hinata clenched his fist in front of his mouth and coughed lightly, and said with a straight face, "Well, after the ninja world is unified, our Hyuga clan will naturally be the royal family of the new world. And the existence of the parliament is to help us deal with national affairs. After all, if an individual's power is too great, it is inevitable that they will be lost in power. And the ninja world is still respected by strength. As long as our strength is always above everyone, the ninja world will naturally respect us." After a pause, Hinata continued, "As for power, it's just something used to corrupt the mind. Once the clans and sects start to fight for power, their strength will inevitably decline from generation to generation. With the passage of time, those who are addicted to power will no longer be able to catch up with the footsteps of our Hyuga family." As soon as Hinata's voice fell, the meeting room suddenly became silent. Originally, there were some people in the Hyuga clan who were dissatisfied with the parliament system proposed by Hinata. According to these people's thoughts, with the current strength of the Hyuga family, they can completely dominate the entire ninja world and conquer the world with force. It's just that because of Hinata's prestige in the Hyuga clan, no one dared to raise objections. How high is Hinata's prestige in the family now? Give me an example. If today there is an elder of the main family who dares to question Hinata, then you will be separated from the main family in the next second, and get out of here to perform the task. But after listening to Hinata's words, these people couldn't help but be shocked with cold sweat. When everyone focused on the distribution of benefits in the new world, they didn't expect that these benefits were just bait thrown by Hinata. As long as the Hyuga clan continues to be strong, as long as the political power in the new world is stable, those who are corrupted by power can only serve the Hyuga family forever. Chapter 608. Ahem. Hyuga Hayashi coughed lightly, awakening everyone's thoughts. Today's family meeting was to determine the future development direction of the Hyuga family. For a family, strength is of course important, but power and interests are also factors that can't be ignored. Hyogo glanced at Hinata and signaled Hinata to continue. Hinata pondered for a moment. In fact, Hinata really didn't have any ideas about what to do next. After all, the unification of the ninja world was just a whim of Hinata. Hinata's original idea was to lead the Hyuga clan out of the ninja world and establish a divine clan. But it doesn't matter if he doesn't have any ideas. As the saying goes, he is familiar with thousands of web novels. Coming from the information explosion of the 21st century, Hinata has countless ideas that can be used for reference. Ninja's regime can be used for reference. Taxes and laws can also be used for reference. Hinata is responsible for providing ideas, and then find professionals to perfect them. The ninja schools of the 5 great ninja villages can be preserved as a memento for the 5 Kages. Schools are legacies. Keeping ninja schools can speed up the progress of the unification of the ninja world. However, the ninjas of the 5 great ninja villages must be reorganized, and then build more ninja schools in the major towns of the ninja world to cultivate ninjas loyal to the new world. Schools are places for brainwashing. Hinata is very familiar with all kinds of political and ideological classes. When Hinata writes a history textbook, it will be easy to whitewash Otsutsuki Kagaya and praise the Hyuga clan. Since the schools are established, the ninjutsu of the various ninja villages must be handed over. The royal family and the state will jointly establish a ninjutsu library and a forbidden library. Only ninjas who pass a specific assessment can learn high-end ninjutsu and forbidden techniques. The original ninjutsu of the major ninja villages can still be preserved as a feature of the 5 great ninja schools. As for the ninja's salary, it still depends on their ability. As long as the taxation is reasonable and business is vigorously promoted, when the world is peaceful, business will naturally prosper. Ninjas belong to high-end combat power, and they don't need to be trained too much. With a large amount of business tax, titles and so on can be divided. It was the kind that had a little privilege and only took money, but no land. Of course, the Hyuga clan is the biggest winner. They can occupy more titles. As for the prince title, it's the kind with a fief. After the ninjas of various ninja villages are scattered, they can be assigned to various cities in the ninja world and be responsible for maintaining world peace. As for the ninja clan, they will also have to leave the original ninja village and go to various cities to settle down. It was probably based on some of the settings in the fantasy novels in his previous life. Maybe after 1,000 years, a family in a small town on the edge of the ninja world will give birth to a new protagonist. The members of the Hyuga family nodded as they listened to Kuroto's explanation. They began to imagine what the future of the shinobi world would be like. As for the Imperial City, Hinata continued, the location of the Imperial City will be built in the Land of Fire. All the powerful clans and ninjas of the shinobi world can live in the Imperial City. In the future, the Imperial City will be the political and commercial center of the country. As long as commerce prevails, every family in the shinobi world can do business. Hyogo nodded in agreement. Hinata is right. In fact, relatively speaking, it is easier for the ninja clan to accept the new pattern of the shinobi world's unification. And the commercial interests can be just right to attract those ninjas to support us. Hinata also nodded. Father-sama is right. There are so many mines in the world. When the ninjas are in power, they can be sold to the ninja clan. Mining in the mountains is a huge benefit. As for the civilian ninjas, they can also do business together. Well, as long as they are registered jonin, they can reduce taxes according to a certain percentage. Hinata, on the other hand, was also acting on impulse. With this policy, even the civilian ninjas will be easier to accept the unification of the shinobi world. In order to reduce taxes, those businessmen will definitely rope in the jonin-level ninjas to do business together. The jonins don't have to risk their lives to perform tasks, and can get a lot of benefits. In this way, they can also accept our rule better. Hinata thought for a while. However, the legal provisions must be perfected. Jonins can't bully ordinary businessmen with their status. The Hyuga family's high-level officials discussed for several hours and roughly perfected some specific details. After that, Hyogo began to assign tasks and sent the elite ninjas of the branch family to visit the various ninja clans of the 5 major villages to discuss the distribution of benefits after the unification of the shinobi world. In fact, almost all the ninja clans of the shinobi world have their own family business. If they only rely on the commission to perform tasks, they can't maintain the continuation of a clan. Take the Nara clan for example. Their clan is responsible for the cultivation of herbs. The supply of herbs for the entire shinobu world depends on the Nara clan. This is the benefit that the first Naruto promised to the Nara clan when he established the shinobu world. And after the unification of the shinobi world, these benefits will naturally be greater, from a village to the entire shinobi world. In fact, as long as you don't think about the concept of village, the unification of the shinobi world, and the ruling of the shinobi world has huge benefits for all ninjas. When ninjas no longer survive as mercenaries, the shinobi world no longer needs war. Ninjas need the world to be stable, and the world will be stable. World peace. When the contents of the Hyuga family's internal meeting spread throughout the shinobi world, world peace is something that almost everyone can see. Because ninjas don't need war anymore. And some of the new regime's regulations for ninjas can also ensure a better life. Genin and Chunin can take on various positions and be responsible for maintaining the stability of the society. Jonin can cooperate with businessmen by relying on the system. And the stronger ninjas, as long as they contribute to the new regime, they can get a title, greater glory, status, and benefits. If ninjas were still nervous this morning, then by the evening, some of the far-sighted ninjas were already full of expectations for the new world of Hinata. Before leaving the Land of Fire, Anoki received information about the Hyuga family's meeting. After all, the Hyuga family didn't want to hide it. Looking at the information in his hand, Anoki was speechless for a long time. Now the only obstacle to the unification of the shinobi world is the persistence and loyalty of the ninjas to the name of the village. Keep the original ninja schools of the 5 major villages, but build more ninja schools all over the shinobi world. Under this system, the structure of the shinobi world will soon be broken. Sigh. Why didn't such a person be born in the Rock Village? Anoki was a little tired. After so many years, the Rock Village will eventually become a name in history. Resist? I believe that after the Hyuga clan's ninjas lobby the major shinobi clans, the Rock Village will be divided. How can a small shinobi village compare to the whole world? Chapter 609. The situation in the shinobi world is changing rapidly. In just a few days, the news of the unification of the 5 major villages spread throughout the shinobi world. In this era, the 5 major villages represent the will of the entire shinobi world. Although there are many small villages, they have no right to speak in front of the 5 major villages. Countless ninjas crazily inquired about the news, wanting to know more information to determine the new pattern after the unification of the shinobi world, and the new way of survival of the shinobi world. However, although the news spread widely, it was only limited to those who should know about it. Ninjas pay the most attention to the confidentiality of information, and for those who shouldn't know about it, they won't reveal a word. Shinobu, Hyuga residence. Hinata listlessly put his head down and listened to Hyogo's report on the various parties of the shinobi world. In the past few days, the Hyuga family has sent a large number of elite ninjas to various villages to persuade the leaders of the shinobi world. After all, the right to speak is only in the hands of a small number of people. As long as these people are persuaded, the rest can only listen to orders. Oniai-san Hinata. At present, the Sand Village is the most supportive of the unification of the shinobi world. Many clans in the Sand Village have secretly contacted us, hoping to get more benefits. Hizashi reported, I didn't promise them, but I didn't refuse them too much either. This matter. What do you think? Without waiting for Hinata and Hyogo to speak, Hizashi continued. Moving from the village to the city is a good thing for all ninjas, and the development of the clan will be more promising. But you know the situation in the Land of Wind, it's desert everywhere. Since the shinobi world is unified, many clans in the Sand Village want to leave the Land of Wind, but Hizashi hesitated. The Land of Wind is huge, even bigger than the Land of Fire, but the environment there is too bad, and the other 4 major villages are not willing to settle there. It's okay. Hinata waved his hand indifferently. When the time comes, I will go to the Land of Wind and use the Tree World descent several times. Even the desert will become a primeval forest. Then I will use the earth release to change the environment. This is easy. Hayashi and Hizashi. If it was that easy, the Wind Country and the Earth Country wouldn't have been barren for so many years. However, since Hinata had such an ability, he could take the opportunity to buy people's hearts. Seeing Hyogo slowly nodding, Hizashi continued to report. In fact, the situation of the Cloud and Mist villages is not bad. The Cloud village has just suffered a fatal blow. Although the Mist village is relatively xenophobic, the Mizukage may seems to support us. Small shinobi village. They can't hold on much longer in the past few years of peace in the shinobi world. As long as you give them enough benefits, most of them won't refuse. However, there were also a few small ninja villages that were stubborn to the end. After being cleaned up by the elites of the clan, they gave in. The Hyuga family now was no longer the Hyuga family of 3 years ago. The biggest limitation of taijutsu ninja is the body. The mortal body has its limits, and as the body begins to age, the strength of taijutsu will also decline. But since the elites of the Hyuga family took the secret medicine made by Orochimaru, their overall strength immediately increased, and the original mortal body began to transform into the sage body. Some geniuses have even mastered the sage mode. Now the Hyuga family can be said to be full of Kage-level ninjas, and jonin as many as dogs. Only the Super Kage can shake them. To clean up a few small ninja villages, it's enough to send an elite of the clan. Hyogo asked. What about the rock village? In the past, Hyogo was still very afraid of Inoki, or rather, all ninjas in the shinobi world were afraid of Inoki's dust release. However, since he had the Rinnegan, Inoki was no longer a character in Hyogo's heart. Dust release is very powerful? Learn about the suction seal. Hisashi frowned. The situation in the rock village is very complicated. After all, Inoki has ruled the rock village for decades, and his prestige in the village is very high. Without Inoki's words, those ninjas won't dare to reply to us. Hyuga Hayashi nodded in understanding. Shinobu is the headquarters of the Hyuga family, and the Mizukage, Kazekage, and Reikage are all new Kages. They don't have enough prestige, and it's easy to divide their forces. But Inoki is different, Hinata said indifferently. Wait a few days. When the agreed time comes, let Sasuke go to the rock village. Ninjas can be cultivated, and destroying a ninja village is not a big deal. Since he wants to unify the shinobi world, he can't be too kind. Hyogo guessed. Inoki should want more benefits, so. Hisashi, you go to the rock village in person. Hisashi nodded. Yes, Oniai-san. Hyogo looked at Hinata. Hinata, the metal you asked me to prepare is ready. The method you said. Can it really cultivate chakra metal? Finally hearing the news he wanted, Hinata immediately cheered up. Try it, it's not a big deal if it fails. But if it succeeds, once the cultivation of chakra metal is successful, it means that ninjas can go out of the ninja world. And Hinata can also rely on the good conductivity of chakra metal to control a larger territory. In the future universe, all the places covered by artificial satellites will be Hinata's territory. Hinata has already thought about it. The future ninja world doesn't need to develop the technology of his previous life. Instead, it will use chakra as the energy source and puppet technique as the foundation to develop new ninja technology. It was just like the rune technology that was based on magic in fantasy novels. The ninja world. Let's call it puppet technology. As for the energy source, when Hinata gets back a tree, the entire ninja world will have enough energy. This is a small matter. Tomorrow, I will transport these metals to the Ryuchi cave and start cultivating chakra metal. Father, I'll leave it to you to take care of the ninja world. After the 5 Kage conference in 3 days, we will hold a ninja world conference and invite the leaders of the small ninja villages, the ninja clan leaders, and the elite ninjas to share the benefits. When everyone has no opinion, we will start a coup and take back the power from the hands of the daimyo. Hyuga Hayashi nodded. He was never worried about the coup. The system of the ninja village is destined to have no military power in the hands of the daimyo. Ninjas only lack the name and the support of the civilians. Hinata came from the 21st century. The things that people of this era care about are not a problem for Hinata at all. Name. Do you know the Water Army? Hire a group of eloquent people to spread the word. You have all kinds of names. The support of the people? The people only care about which ruler can make their lives better. As long as the society is stable, they don't care who is in power. Ninjutsu can change the world. The power of ninjutsu is enough to feed the world and make their lives better. Chapter 610. Time passed slowly in a tense atmosphere. On the 7th day after the blood moon, the second 5 Kage conference was held in the conference room of the Shinobu Naruto building. The unification of the Shinobu world and the merger of the Shinobu villages were officially put on the agenda. In the conference room, except for Hyogo, there were still the same 15 people from before. 5 Kages and 10 shadow guards. Looking at Hyogo, who looked calm as usual, everyone's expression was complicated, and their hearts were full of mixed feelings. The Hyuga clan has hidden too deeply. In these days, the Hyuga clan can be said to be in the limelight in the shinobi world. Hinata, who is the strongest in the shinobi world, Hyogo, who has the Rinnegan, and a large number of powerful clansmen. An ordinary member of the branch family has the strength not weaker than the 5 Kages. If it was only 1 or 2, it would be fine, but the Hyuga family has dozens of elite Kage-level ninjas. In these days, the Hyuga family has sent a large number of elite clansmen to lobby various forces, so it was inevitable that they would make a move. But this move naturally exposed the true strength of the Hyuga family. People who know the truth more, or less have guessed that the Hyuga clan should have mastered the power of senjutsu. This point alone is enough to make all parties tempted. Everyone, the benefits of the merger of the shinobi villages are self-evident for ninjas. Hyogo was the first to speak. And you should also know that in this universe, there is not only one planet under our feet. If humans want to go further, we must unite. If we continue to be divided, and continue to fight among ourselves, what will eventually be waiting for will be the invasion of other planets. Turning to Tsunade, Hyogo said in a serious tone, I believe that Naruto-sama should understand this point. Jiraiya has seen the Otsutsuki with his own eyes, and using the alien threat as an excuse is indeed the best reason to persuade Tsunade. Tsunade nodded slowly. In the past few days, she has also had several exchanges with Hyogo. To be honest, if it weren't for Hinata stabbing the 3 Holy Lands, Tsunade might have firmly supported the unification of the shinobi world. But then again, if you want to improve the strength of a ninja in all aspects, practicing sage cultivation is indeed the best way. Tsunade waved his hand tiredly. Jinin took out a folder with the words Top Secret written on it and passed it to the other 4 Kages. The content of the file is naturally the record of the Otsutsuki clan. This family from the universe is the biggest threat to the ninja world today. In fact, seriously speaking, the Hyuga, Uchiha, and Senju clans can be regarded as a hybrid of alien and ninja world. However, a person's position was never determined by their blood, but by their thoughts. Hyuga, Senju, and Uchiha have been developing in the shinobi world for thousands of years, and have long regarded this place as their home. Lord Naruto. Anoki frowned. This information, Tsunade nodded. It's all true. Looking around at everyone, Tsunade continued. Our world has always been facing threats from the universe. If we want to protect our world, ninjas must unite. As for sage cultivation, Tsunade said calmly with a straight face, Mount Mayaboku and the Shikatsu forest are the homes of the toads and slugs, and there are certain conditions to practice sage cultivation. If you force yourself to practice sage cultivation, the end result will be assimilation by natural energy. Speaking of this, Tsunade pointed to himself. If sage cultivation was so easy to practice, I would have mastered the summon scroll of the Shikatsu forest and cultivated sage mode long ago. This is also true, sage cultivation chakra is not easy to control. That is, the Hyuga clan. The control of chakra was originally the advantage of the Hyuga clan, coupled with the secret medicine refined from the flesh and blood of Hina. The difficulty of practicing sage cultivation is reduced. Hina is a giant snake that has been cultivating in the Ryochi cave for more than 1,000 years. Orochimaru's summon beast Manda is just a baby snake in front of Hina. The flesh and blood of a giant snake with a sage body contains immeasurable nutrients. It's just that this kind of thing can't be known to outsiders. Tsunade wants to protect Mount Mayaboku and the Shikatsu forest, and Hyogo wants to let the Hyuga clan take the lead in the shinobi world. Only Hinata, because she was too strong, didn't care about this kind of thing. Tsunade continued. After the shinobi world is unified, we will set a standard for practicing sage cultivation. As long as a ninja meets this standard, they can enter Mount Mayaboku to practice sage cultivation. According to the deal between Tsunade and Hyogo, the toads and slugs in Mount Mayaboku and the Shikatsu forest will remain, and the ninjas will not use force to occupy the 3 Holy Lands. In exchange for keeping Mount Mayaboku and the Shikatsu forest, Mount Mayaboku will give up a place for ninjas to practice sage cultivation. The Shikatsu forest will be given to Otsutsuki Kagaya. Anyway, there is only one slug, and it's not a big deal to plant a tree in the Shikatsu forest. In addition, Tsunade will let Hyogo enter the Shinobi World Council as the 6th Naruto to strengthen Hinata's rule over the shinobi world. The standard for practicing sage cultivation? Anoki raised his eyebrows. Hyogo said lightly, a huge amount of chakra, exquisite control of chakra, and the degree of adaptation of the body to natural energy. The first 2 points are easy to achieve, but the third point is enough to block more than 90% of ninjas. The meeting continued. In summary, there are only 3 things to discuss. First, to resist the Otsutsuki clan from the universe. Second, to practice sage mode. Third, the distribution of benefits after the unification of the shinobi world. In fact, until today no ninja village has declared war on shinobu, which has already explained a lot of problems. As long as the benefits are negotiated and can satisfy all parties, the unification of the shinobi world is already the general trend. There is a sentence that is very suitable for now. If it weren't for keeping enough people to manage the shinobi world, the Hyuga clan really doesn't mind unifying the world by force. If they can't win, then they can only compromise. Night fell, and the 5 Kage conference has been going on for 10 hours. The areas that should be discussed have been discussed. Although the distribution of benefits is not enough to fully satisfy all parties, it is not enough to make people resentful. After all, compared to the benefits of a world, a small ninja village is like a chestnut in the ocean. Everyone. Hyogo slowly got up, and his always calm tone had a rare trace of excitement. Since you have no objection, then the next thing is to inform the forces of the shinobi world to hold a shinobi world conference. The samurai of the Land of Iron will also send representatives to participate in this conference. After a pause, Hyogo continued, when the shinobi world conference is over, it is time for us ninjas to launch a coup and seize power. In the next few days, I hope that everyone can stay in Shinobu and improve the system and laws after the unification of the shinobi world. Everyone. The war is far away from us. As long as we ninjas can manage the world's political power and make the society stable and prosperous, we ninjas can survive in the era of peace. Chapter 611. I planted a seed, and it finally grew fruit. Today is a great day. Humming a song, Hinata smiled and buried metal, iron ore and other materials near the roots of the sacred tree. With the nourishment of natural energy day and night, he believed that soon, these metals will become chakra metal that can conduct chakra. Although the wood used to make puppets is good, the conductivity is too poor, and the material itself is not strong. It's okay to play in the ninja world, but once he enters outer space, it's suicide. Next I'll wait for Kagaya to come to me. Hinata was a little puzzled. I don't know what that guy is doing, he has been sealed for 1,000 years, is there any private matter that needs to be dealt with? Maybe. Hinata suddenly thought of a person. Otsutsuki Ichiki. Hinata doesn't know much about this person. Before Hinata crossed over, there was very little information about Otsutsuki Ichiki on the internet. On the contrary, Hinata could already find information about Yaoshi, Jinshi, and Urashi on the internet before crossing over. As a fan of Naruto, although Hinata hasn't read The Legend of Bodo, he still checked a lot of information about The Legend of Bodo. The information about Otsutsuki Ichiki was basically after Sasuke and Sunflower crossed over. Hinata learned a little about it. Hinata guessed at that time that since he had left the ninja world with Kagaya, why did he come back alone? The only explanation is to fight against the enemy of the Otsutsuki clan. If there is someone in the ninja world that Kagaya is afraid of, then this person must be Ichiki. In the rumors, Kagaya and Ichiki were originally a pair of partners, and the two came to the ninja world to guard the sacred tree together. However, it didn't take long for Kagaya to sneak attack Ichiki and occupy the sacred tree alone. Well, Hinata pondered for a moment. No matter who was right and who was wrong, Hinata is now standing on Kagaya's side, and Ichiki is destined to be Hinata's enemy. But this guy seems to be hiding very deeply. He didn't come out to wreak havoc while Huey was sealed for 1,000 years. Is it because he couldn't do it? Or is he afraid of something? The water of the ninja world is very deep. This was not the first time Hinata had felt this way. The ninja world isn't a big problem. After the regime stabilizes, I'll go with Kagaya to explore the universe. Although Hinata has learned some clearance strategies from the future Sasuke, the current shinobi world is completely different from the future Sasuke's world. At least in that time and space, Hinata never unified the shinobi world, but let it continue to be chaotic. He scratched his head. Hinata felt a headache coming on. Since I can't figure it out, I won't think about it for now. After dealing with the matters of the shinobi world, let's go outside and have a look. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. 7 days ago, Shinobu gathered all the forces of the shinobu world, and held a ninja meeting about the future of the shinobu world. The participants included the 5 Kages, the leaders of the small ninja villages, the patriarchs of the big ninja villages, and some elite ninjas. These people can basically represent the entire shinobi world, and they are also the core officials who will manage the world in the future. The merger of the ninja villages was quickly reached a consensus. In fact, if it was just the merger of the ninja villages, these people may not be willing. But after the merger of the ninja villages, the ninjas will launch a coup d'état and establish a new world controlled by ninjas, which made many people excited, especially the patriarchs of the clans. The ninja village model more or less limited the development of these clans. For example, the Hyuga, Uchiha, and other clans' strength is not as strong as during the Warring States period. After all, the war of the ninja villages is much larger than the war between clans. Even if they can train civilian ninjas as cannon fodder, after 3 world wars, the ninja clans have consumed a large number of their clans. As for the distribution of interests, it is further improved on the basis of Hinata's proposal. Even if it is not fair, it is at least 100 times or 1,000 times better than now. The most important thing is the perfection of the system and law, but after several days of discussion, it still hasn't been decided. After all, the interests involved in this thing are too great, and it is likely that an inconspicuous loophole can lead to a huge profit of hundreds of billions of ryo. In the end, Hinata returned from the Ryuchi cave and forced the matter to be settled. The so-called system and law are the rules of the game. Since it has been established, then everyone must abide by it. In the whole ninja world, including some old and new ninjas, there are about 200,000 ninjas, and 80% of them are elite ninjas, who were arranged by Hinata to maintain the system and law. And these high-level officials who participated in the meeting are also in high positions, responsible for assisting Hinata and the parliament to manage the ninja world. Of course, due to the lack of ninjas, some talented ordinary people may be hired. Everything is set, then the next step is the coup d'état. Well, the process of the coup d'état went smoother than Hinata imagined. Although the daimyo also have some armed forces, they are vulnerable in front of the ninjas. Some small cities can even be occupied by a chunin. From this, it can be seen that there are too many drawbacks in the ninja village system. Although the ninja village is attached to the country, it is in a semi-independent state. Even the war of a country is decided by the kage, and the daimyo have no room to intervene. And what about the daimyo? The daimyo are responsible for managing the country, and at the same time, they have to give the ninja village a sum of money every year to hire the ninja village to protect their country. But the ninja village is not managed by the daimyo, so this sum of money is actually very limited, and it is not even enough to support the development of a ninja village. So ninjas need to perform tasks. But once the world is peaceful, the ninja village will not receive a large number of employment tasks. Therefore, there is a situation of ninja need war. The ninjas may not understand the twists and turns in this, but Hinata understands. The taxes of the country of fire, not counting the domestic construction and development, can at least support the hundreds of thousands of ninjas in the village of Shinobu. If looking at the whole world, even if other countries are not as rich as the country of fire, it is easy to support millions of ninjas. And once the world is peaceful, the construction of roads all over the world to support the development of commerce, the tax revenue is more than enough to support millions of ninjas. Puppet technology also needs to be developed. Hinata has already talked with my love, and with the technology and talents provided by the Sand Hidden Village, he established a puppet technology institute. The main research direction at present is to develop a device that can store chakra. Before there is a sacred tree, the chakra refined by ninjas is the future energy source, and it is a clean energy source. Ninjas can refine a lot of chakra every day and waste it. Tsunade's In seal is developed in order not to waste chakra. Ninjas every day inject the wasted chakra into the storage device, and then use the chakra to drive the puppet technology products. There is a train that connects the whole world. Ninjutsu can change the world. It is not just a saying. Chapter 6:12. The chaos of the shinobi world started suddenly and ended suddenly. Everything had happened too quickly. Some civilians living in remote areas heard about the chaos of the shinobi world. But in less than a few days, the shinobi world suddenly settled down. Although these things don't need to be done by Hinata himself, after all, Hinata is the biggest boss, so he heard a lot of news at home. Don't look at Shinobu's peaceful life, but the shinobi profession is destined to be accompanied by a bloody storm. Which ninja above the age of 25 hasn't experienced the 3 wars of the shinobi world? These people were even sent to the battlefield by their village when they were 7 or 8 years old. Letting such a group of killing machines launch a coup. How can those nobles and officials who are used to enjoying life have the courage to resist? Some even took the initiative to surrender before the shinobi killed them. Too bad. Although the system of one country and one village makes it difficult for the daimyo to feel at ease, these nobles and officials never care about this, and even the shinobi world war has nothing to do with them. They only need to pay a commission to hire ninjas to protect themselves in the chaotic world. Except for the small countries without ninjas, the officials of those countries with ninja villages are basically rotten to the bone. Hyogo was so busy during this time that he couldn't even see his shadow. As Hinata's father, Hyogo not only has to preside over the overall situation, but also has to supervise the construction of the Imperial City and the Imperial Palace. The location of the Imperial City is set in the Land of Fire, but Hinata wasn't satisfied with the architectural style. Including the original daimyo mansion, it didn't meet Hinata's aesthetic. Since Hinata wasn't satisfied, it must be overturned and rebuilt. Hinata has been looking at the design of the Imperial City and the Imperial Palace for the past few days, and he didn't feel tired at all. As for the funds to rebuild the Imperial City, when the ninjas saw the money taken from the nobles' and officials' mansions, they couldn't believe their eyes. In Hinata's previous life, there is a saying, 3 years of being a magistrate, 100,000 snowflake silver. But any official who is on the surface, the family wealth is almost equivalent to half a year of Konoha's expenses. This was no joke. The ninja world system and laws are not perfect enough. As long as those officials use their brains a little, they can bring millions of ryo to their families. Ninja's worldview is still limited by killing and war. Even a rich second generation like Sasuke only thinks about strength. Of course, there was nothing wrong with pursuing strength. After all, this was a world where strength reigned supreme. Even Hinata himself pursued strength wholeheartedly. However, in order to develop a force, one must not lack funds. Consider the tragedy of Apothecary's Pocket. Shinobu couldn't even build an orphanage back then. As long as Shinobu had money, Medicine Master Nanoyu would not have been used by Danzo. As soon as the coup was over, the first thing the ninjas enjoyed was the taste of money. As the various shinobi clans began to move, and as ninjas moved into various cities, the shinobi world quickly settled down. Peace. Since ancient times, it had been built under the rule of power. Only force could suppress the most primitive desires of human beings. From this point of view, Hinata's idea was actually the same as Nagato's, but Hinata's method was much gentler. When ninjas occupied a city, the first thing they had to eliminate were the bandits and robbers who occupied the mountains, followed by the underworld in the dark corners of the city. Bandits, robbers, and underworld were originally interdependent professions with ninjas. As long as these evil forces were there, ninjas would not lack tasks. Now that they were no longer needed, it was naturally easy to eliminate them. Although the first empress of the shinobi world, Hinata, hasn't officially ascended to the throne, many civilians have begun to recognize her rule. After all, the stability and peace of the world was really visible. And the system and laws set by Hinata, although most of them were beneficial to ninjas, for civilians, it was several times better than the previous system. And the most important thing was that civilians could go to school. Once ninja schools began to recruit students, these civilians would have a channel to become ninjas. And ninjas were the privileged class in the new world. In fact, in Hinata's view, ninjas were not only combat power, but also energy extractors. As long as there were a large number of ninjas, the shinobi world would have an endless supply of renewable clean energy. Thinking about it this way, it was reasonable to let ninjas enjoy some privileges. The capital of the Land of Fire. Now that it has become the imperial city of the New World, the Hyuga clan naturally moved here. The renovation and expansion of the imperial city had to be done slowly, and the construction of the imperial palace couldn't be completed in a day or two. Hinata now stayed in the mansion every day, enjoying the happiness of the capitalist class. Hinata Takuma and the brothers Kazakage and Reikage, who followed Hinata, were now successful. Hyuga Takuma was still Hinata's guard, but now he had to change his name to Captain of the Empress's Guard. No one dared to not give him face. As for Kazakami and Raikami, they were transferred to Hyuga Tobarama by Hinata, acting as his assistants. Anyway, these two just needed to eat, and they didn't even need to be paid. Well, in the bedroom, Hinata was eating pastries and drinking tea while looking at the information at hand. The establishment of a unified country naturally needs a new name. It's definitely not good to call it the Land of Fire. It will give people the illusion that the Land of Fire unified the world. In addition, the name of the Land of Fire has been abolished, and the Land of Fire naturally no longer exists. What should I call it? According to the naming customs of the shinobi world, let's call it the Land of Fire. Hinata threw the information away and didn't care much about this kind of thing. Tomorrow is the 1-month period agreed by Hinata and Otsutsuki Kagaya. And that will be a new beginning for Hinata. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. Come in. Hinata wiped the pastry crumbs from his mouth, tidied up his clothes, and sat upright. After all, his identity is different now. Sasuke pushed the door and entered. Hinata looked up at Sasuke and said seriously, Sasuke-kun, what can I do for you? Sasuke. I went to see Naruto. Sasuke casually sat opposite Hinata and said lightly, that guy has been clamoring to be Naruto since he was a child, but now that even Shinobu is gone, he naturally can't be Naruto. Bah. Hinata curled his lips and no longer pretended. He took out pastries and tea and called Sasuke to eat together. Sasuke reached out and was about to pick up a piece of pastry that looked very delicate. Hinata asked casually, how is Naruto's state? Sasuke retracted his hand and looked out of the window for a long time before he said, even if the world changes, I don't think that guy's temperament will change. While Sasuke was talking, Hinata swallowed the piece of pastry that Sasuke wanted to eat before. Seeing Sasuke finish speaking and stared at another piece of pastry, Hinata quickly asked, did you fight with Naruto? Chapter 613. Sasuke nodded. Naruto has always been Sasuke's old enemy. As long as the two meet, whether it's Naruto or Sasuke, they will inevitably fight each other. Naruto, that guy, actually mastered the power of Senjutsu. Sasuke continued. But that's it for him. In front of this pair of eyes, even Senjutsu is nothing. Sasuke revealed his Rinnegan and said solemnly, I have seen through Senjutsu. Hinata. The pastry in his mouth suddenly couldn't be swallowed. Naruto, the #1 B-King in the world, really deserves his reputation. Naruto's Sage Mode, to put it bluntly, is just using the Senjutsu chakra with a mortal body. It can't be regarded as a real Senjutsu at all. The real Senjutsu is the evolution of life, the cultivation of the immortal body, not the value of Senjutsu simply judged by its strength. What are you going to do next? Hinata said, the date I agreed to meet with Kagaya is tomorrow, but the ninja world is not stable yet, so I can't leave easily. I can take you to the Ryuchi cave to try to cultivate Senjutsu. Sasuke frowned and asked calmly. Before, I tried to enter space, but with my current strength, I can't survive in space for a long time. Enter space? What are the conditions? Sasuke obviously doesn't want to stay in the ninja world, because he can no longer grow in the ninja world. Or it's not that he can't grow, but the cycle of growth is too slow. After Sasuke tried to improve his strength quickly, he obviously can't accept the result of slow strength improvement. What's more, Sasuke has a lifespan limit. He can't live forever. Enter space. Hinata thought for a while and guessed. The perfect Sage Mode may be able to live freely in outer space. Sasuke was puzzled. Even you are not sure? Hinata nodded. Before eating the Ura-style chakra fruit, Hinata could only enter space in the Tensigan chakra mode. Later, there were no restrictions. But Hinata is not a scientist, and he didn't carefully study the requirements and physical data to enter space. However, the perfect sage mode should be one of the indispensable conditions. But don't worry. Hinata comforted him, said, after unifying the ninja world. In addition to development and construction, my next plan is to lead ninjas to occupy more planets. After all, planting trees also needs planets. We will enter space sooner or later. Sasuke didn't feel comforted at all, but he was even more anxious. He didn't want to enter the universe with those ordinary ninjas and wait to receive the fruits of Hinata's victory. However, there are some facts, there are facts there. There are some faxes. Unless there is a second Otsutsuki for him to absorb, or he can cultivate the sage body in a short time. The universe void is an absolute life forbidden zone for Sasuke. I got it. Sasuke dropped this sentence, got up and said lightly, I'm going to the Ryuchi cave to practice senjutsu. Hinata curled his lips. Okay. The most dangerous step of practicing senjutsu is to integrate natural energy and control chakra. Once the cultivator loses control, there must be an outsider who is proficient in controlling chakra to help the cultivator dispel the natural energy in the body. But for this kind of thing, Hinata only needs to leave a wood clone. Taking Sasuke to the Ryuchi cave, Hinata explained the precautions of practicing senjutsu, then left a wood clone and left. After dealing with Sasuke, Hinata inevitably thought of Naruto. Today's Naruto is far less high-spirited than in the original work. Although his strength is also very strong, he is still far from Sasuke. Although Azura and Nine Tails are powerful, how can they be compared to Chakra Fruit? What's more, Hinata doesn't know whether the current Naruto is the Naruto he knew when he was a child or the reincarnation of Azura. The reincarnation of Chakra is actually the reincarnation of will. The reincarnation of Chakra will not inherit the memory of the previous life, but it will inherit the will of the previous life. Under the influence of this will, Naruto and Azura will have similar thoughts, similar behavior, and similar persistence and faith. Sigh. Hinata sighed, and he didn't want to meet Naruto more and more. Outside the ninja world space, Otsutsuki Kagaya stared at the moon above his head, but his gaze seemed to pass through the moon, through the distant void, and saw the planet where the Otsutsuki clan lived. It is a very beautiful planet, and the life living there is also powerful and terrifying. But there is no doubt that as long as you get the civilization on that planet, any weak civilization can quickly become strong. The seeds of the sacred tree, and the planting method. Mum. Black Zetsu came out of Otsutsuki Kagaya's sleeve. Are you still worried? Although Kagaya didn't speak, Black Zetsu is Kagaya's will, and he naturally knows Kagaya better than anyone. Unlike Hinata, who is not afraid of the tiger, Kagaya has a deep fear of the Otsutsuki clan. Even if she resists, she just hides in the distant ninja world, and doesn't dare to test the Otsutsuki clan easily. Now we can only continue, Black Zetsu persuaded. Unless we hide and find a place to live where the Otsutsuki clan will never find. Otsutsuki Kagaya. Otsutsuki Kagaya is not afraid of war. She swallowed the fruit and cultivated white Zetsu, and she was already prepared to resist. On the moon, Otsutsuki Kagaya's voice was almost inaudible, and she could perceive a powerful and familiar chakra on the moon. That is chakra that belongs to Hamura. Is he still alive? Or is he dead? No matter what Hagoromo and Hamura did in the past, they are Otsutsuki Kagaya's sons after all. Perceiving the chakra of her son, Kagaya somewhat missed it. And resentment. After a long time, Otsutsuki Kagaya slowly turned around, looked at the ninja world below, and said softly, "Let's go." Black Zetsu retracted into his sleeve, and the void in front of Otsutsuki Kagaya slowly opened, and Kagaya floated into the space door and disappeared. Ninja World, Imperial City, Hyuga Residence. Coming. Hinata fiercely turned up from the quilt and looked at Otsutsuki Kagaya, who suddenly appeared with one eye, and couldn't help but complain. "Auntie, it's the middle of the night." Otsutsuki Kagaya looked calm. "We made an appointment to meet in a month." Hinata. 1 month. Hinata remembered that when he made an appointment with Kagaya, it happened to be the middle of the night. And now, you are really punctual. Hinata turned over half of the quilt. "It's still night. Do you want to come and sleep together?" Hinata issued an invitation to Kagaya to sleep in the same bed. Otsutsuki Kagaya. Chapter 614. Hinata yawned listlessly, sitting on the bed with a small blanket on his body, looking at Otsutsuki Kagaya with sleepy eyes. Evil ghost. Bad guy. Such a bastard who disturbs people's dreams deserves to be sealed. Why didn't he kill him in the beginning? Otsutsuki Kagaya was still expressionless, and Black Zetsu shrank in her sleeve and shivered. Knowing Hinata for more than 3 years, Black Zetsu knows Hinata's temper best. At this time, if he annoys Hinata, he will definitely be killed. Alas! With a sigh, Hinata said weakly, "You see, I'm very busy now. Although we said to explore the universe together, I don't care about a few days." You say. Kagaya was naturally very clear about the current situation. In any case, she was also a person who once ruled the world and was called a goddess by people. Although the way to rule the world is different, there are a lot of things to be busy with. Looking at the young face in front of her, Kagaya inexplicably raised an indescribable feeling for a while. It's really like her descendant inheriting her former career, and suddenly there's a bit more of a sense of familiarity. Speaking of which, Hinata and Kagaya are really a bit similar. The hairstyle is similar to the face shape, but the hair color is very different. Hinata's hair color is black, while Kagaya has long blue and white hair. The same Byakugan, and the same Tomo Rinnegan on the forehead. The only difference is a 6 Tomo and a 9 Tomo. Oh. Yes. The biggest difference between the two is that Kagaya has no eyebrows, and there are horns on her head. Otsutsuki Kagaya nodded silently. Over the past month, Otsutsuki Kagaya had a hard time calmly watching the changes in the world. For an immortal, the longer they live, the stronger they are, and the less they will care about ordinary people who only have a lifespan of 100 years. The so-called God's mercy on the world is just the fantasy of ordinary people. God is a higher creature, and how can a higher creature care about the thoughts of a lower creature? But there is a point. A person who only had a lifespan of 100 years would often live a more enjoyable life than a god who had a long lifespan. In a month's time, Hui had also gone to many places and met many people. His 2 sons were dead. Even if their souls were still there, and they had the power to return to the real world, they were still dead. Furthermore, Hui didn't want to revive them. His old enemy was still there, but Kagaya searched all over the ninja world, and still couldn't find the whereabouts of the Ichitsu. After thinking about it, the only person in the entire universe who could make Hui feel somewhat reliable was actually Hinata. As for Sasuke Hui, who was that? Seeing Hui nod, Hinata hurriedly said, "Since you also agree, why don't you stay in my house from now on? Or maybe we should go to the Shikol forest." Suddenly, he thought of the 3 holy lands. Hinata continued, "I have an agreement with the slug of the Shikol forest. It will give up a piece of land for you to plant the tree of God. Although the tree of God can't bear fruit and can't continue to grow, the instinct of the tree of God is still there, and it can be used to cultivate some power." Hinata finally added, "My tree of God is planted in the Ryuchi cave." After looking at Hinata for a while, Hui said, "It's been too long." Hinata? Oh. It turned out that the tree of God was used to cultivate power for too long. Hinata understood. A fruit of the tree of God needs to be cultivated for thousands of years. The Tensigen in the reincarnation room on the moon was either cultivated for 500 years or 1,000 years. Using the tree of God to cultivate power can't be seen in a short time. If it was 1,000 years ago, Hui wouldn't mind using the tree of God to cultivate some kind of power for his own use. But now the Otsutsuki clan has found the ninja world. No wonder in the original manga, Kagaya took back all the chakra as soon as he was resurrected. It turned out that he sensed the crisis. "We have to take a long-term view," Hinata said earnestly. "Although the Otsutsuki clan is a huge crisis, we can't give up on growth because of this. Just like your Byakugan, maybe it can evolve into the Tensigen. Look at me." Hinata pointed at himself. Controlling the power of reincarnation sounds so cool. Hui remained expressionless. The Otsutsuki clan has already noticed this. If they can't survive this, no matter how high their growth rate is, it will still be an illusion. What Hui needed now was rapid growth in a short period of time. He did not seek to evolve into a higher level of life form, but at the very least, he had to grasp a higher level of energy. If you use Yomi no Yomi Asaka, it will only take you an instant to travel between two galaxies, Kagaya said. But the Otsutsuki clan has never planted a divine tree near the shinobi world. Hinata asked curiously. Is the ninja world a very remote place in the universe? Yui nodded. You can say that. No wonder Kagaya dared to betray the Otsutsuki clan. It turned out that the mountain was high and the emperor was far away. Maybe Huiyi was exiled at the beginning. Hinata read the information about Otsutsuki Kagaya in the encyclopedia in his previous life. He remembered that she seemed to be a princess. He couldn't remember the specifics. Kagaya continued, in my impression, the area where the Otsutsuki clan planted the divine tree is the closest planet to the ninja world. It takes about half a year to travel back and forth. Half a year, Hinata frowned and pondered. Hinata didn't know how far Kagaya's Yomi no Yomi Asaka could travel at a time. But this half a year made Hinata think of another thing. Why did Hinata in the future Sasuke's spacetime return to the ninja world? If he couldn't find the divine tree, it would be fine. But if he could find the divine tree, why did he absorb the Yao style fruit and covet the Jubi? And he came back alone. Was he beaten up in the universe? There are too many mysteries. At the beginning, Hinata didn't care too much, but now Hinata's strength is getting stronger and stronger. He knows more and more secrets, and the mysteries in his heart are getting bigger and bigger. 3 months. Hinata raised 3 fingers. Give me 3 months to arrange things. After 3 months, we will enter the universe together. Huiyi nodded. She also needs some time to learn ninja jutsu. Hinata continued. But before that, ancestor, can you tell me about the division of strength in the Otsutsuki clan? The division of strength in the ninja world is Genin, Chunin, and Jonin. And it's not so much a division of strength as a profession level. When Shinobu was still alive, Hinata was a Jonin, Tsunade and Jiraiya were also Jonin, and even Hashirama was only a Jonin, but they held different positions. Kagaya's tone was calm. This clan doesn't have a clear division of strength. The difference is only the level of sage body and dojutsu. Chapter 6:15. Time: late at night. Location: Hinata's small bedroom. Characters: Hinata, Otsutsuki Kagaya. Story: while Kagaya talked endlessly like a long-tongued woman, Hinata's expression was suddenly enlightened. Well, Hinata felt that he really thought too much before. The so-called realm only exists in Hinata's web novels in his previous life. The ninja world and the Otsutsuki clan have no detailed division of the realm. Hinata previously also based on Naruto's doujinshi novels to create the realm of Kage, Super Kage, and so on. However, the sage body and dojutsu have levels. Just like the ordinary Rinnegan and Goju Rinnegan. The difference between the sage body and the sage body is Hinata's previous division of life level. Practicing the sage mode, at the beginning, like Naruto and Jiraiya, it takes half a day to enter the sage mode. Further, it is the half-sage body, in the form of Senju Hashirama entering the sage mode in seconds. The real sage body, like Hinata, turns the sage mode into a normal state, and the level of life also evolves. Ordinary Otsutsuki clan members can do this. The sage body goes further. Hinata calls it the perfect sage body. The specific manifestation is like Otsutsuki Kagaya, who can make himself immortal with natural energy. According to the energy conservation law of Hinata's previous life, energy is neither produced out of thin air, nor will it disappear out of thin air. It can only be transferred from one object to another. As long as people are alive, they will consume energy, that is, they will consume vitality. And the perfect sage body, the replenishment will be far greater than the consumption. Not only has eternal life, even if the body is seriously injured, it can quickly recover. The body, spirit, and chakra are all at a level that is close to infinite. However, even Otsutsuki Kagaya has a limit. As long as the speed of destruction is greater than the speed of replenishment, Kagaya may be killed. It's just that there are only a few people who can do this. Even Hinata can't do it for the time being. And if the perfect immortal body were to evolve once more, Hinata would call it the supreme immortal body. According to Kagaya, The strongest of the Otsutsuki clan was at this level. The body of an utmost immortal could be seen as a truly endless source of energy. Even if they did not absorb natural energy from the outside world, they could still produce natural energy endlessly within their bodies through certain functions. Nature was magnified, growing and multiplying endlessly. Hinata was an otaku in his previous life, so he didn't know how much energy could be generated from nuclear fusion. However, Hinata knew about the sun. Although the sun had a lifespan, it was equivalent to an endless source of energy. But smack! Kashida, who was still a newbie, couldn't help but shiver as he wrapped his blanket tightly around himself. According to Hinata's understanding, even Kagaya, if placed in the Otsutsuki clan, is probably only equivalent to Kakashi's level in Shinobu. As for Hinata's current level, he was still at the stage where his immortal body was evolving towards a perfect immortal body. If it weren't for Hinata's big enough imagination to create a small dantian with the sealing technique and cultivate a yuaniing with natural energy, it wouldn't be so easy to achieve immortality. The water of the universe is too deep. Evolving into a perfect immortal body seems to be easy. As long as you absorb a 10-tailed level tree, you can do it immediately. But according to Kagaya, even in the Otsutsuki clan, there are very few people who can do this. Most of them are like Urushi, or even worse than Urushi. After all, the main family of the Otsutsuki clan wants to rule the main family and branch family, and the foundation of rule is absolute force, so the main family naturally won't let the people of the main family and branch family be too strong. Kagaya also saw the abnormality in the ninja world and noticed the changes in the divine tree, so he had the idea of resistance. Fortunately, it wasn't all bad news. The Otsutsuki clan is the same as the aliens in Dragon Ball. They have powerful strength, but they only rely on dojutsu to fight with others. In short, this clan meets the enemy in an instant, who will spend time to temper their combat experience. In contrast, although Hinata's combat experience in the ninja world is trash, compared with the Otsutsuki clan, he is an absolute combat master. If the level of immortal body is the level of life, then the real decisive factor in the battle is the level of energy. That is, the level of chakra. Ordinary chakra, Senjutsu chakra, the perfect Senjutsu chakra, the supreme Senjutsu chakra. Hinata distinguished it like this. According to Naruto settings, the power of Senjutsu chakra is dozens of times that of ordinary chakra. And the strength of Otsutsuki Kagaya is definitely far beyond that of Naruto, Jiraiya, and Senju Hashirama. In short, the difference of one level of energy level, the power of the technique is dozens of times stronger. If the energy level is 2 levels away from the immortal body, it can't cause damage to the opponent. And this means that even if Hinata uses the strength of giving birth, he can't cause damage to the strongest of the Otsutsuki clan. If a full blow can cause -0 damage, then what's the point of fighting? The gap between the two is like the gap between an ordinary ninja and Otsutsuki Kagaya. It's a world of difference. After listening to Kagaya's explanation, Hinata was a little desperate for a while. It may be possible to fight above level, but it's absolutely impossible to fight above 2 levels. If Hinata robbed the Otsutsuki clan's sacred tree, and was then chased by the Otsutsuki clan's powerhouse, the two sides fought hard. Otsutsuki Kagaya died on the spot, or was sealed, and Hinata continued to flee, and finally fled back to the ninja world, ready to rob the Otsutsuki clan's jubi, and then fight the Otsutsuki clan's powerhouse. Hinata seemed to see himself in another time and space. Gudon. This guess, it can't be true, right? Hinata trembled. Suddenly, he didn't seem to have confidence. Otsutsuki Kagaya also looked dignified. If she swallowed another jubi, she was confident that she could block the strongest of the Otsutsuki clan. But in her current state, she would definitely be killed in a face-to-face confrontation. Originally, she wanted to use the sacred tree to cultivate White Zetsu for 1,000 years, and finally absorb White Zetsu's chakra to evolve again. But now 1,000 years have passed. That, I said. Hinata suddenly thought of something. There seems to be a Tensigen on the moon. If I absorb that Tensigen, can chakra level be upgraded? Originally, Hinata still had some concerns. After all, It's not a good thing to master high-level energy with a low-level sage body. Not to mention the danger of sage mode. Look at Nagato, a pair of ordinary Rinnegan. Kakashi's Sharingan is also a burden. It's because of bloodline, but life level is definitely a factor that can't be ignored. Kagaya stared straight at Hinata, although she didn't speak. Hinata understood her meaning from her eyes. Since it's a good thing, why can't I absorb it? Chapter 616. Otsutsuki Kagaya is actually a very greedy person, and she is full of a strong desire for power. Kagaya has already noticed the Tensigen on the moon, but unfortunately, eyes can't be transformed into chakra fruit. The only way to get the Tensigen is to do a transplant operation. After all, the eye is an organ. But Hinata actually has a way to absorb the Tensigen. Kagaya felt that she may have underestimated this junior. Kagaya's eyes. Tell me the way, and the rest depends on who is faster. What do you mean by this? Hinata was angry. I am the descendant of Hamura ancestor, and it stands to reason that I should inherit the eyes of Hamura ancestor. Kagaya was silent for a moment. Hamura is my child. Hinata? Okay. Hinata nodded reluctantly. Kagaya asked, how are you going to absorb that eye? Hinata looked at Kagaya with some doubts. Dojutsu with the eyes. Doesn't your Rinnegan also have the ability to absorb chakra? Otsutsuki Kagaya. Did I really overestimate her? If the eye power can be absorbed casually, then the Otsutsuki clan would have killed each other in order to evolve the eye. Even the transformation of chakra fruit requires the will of the person being transformed. However, in fact, Hinata has always been curious about why the Otsutsuki clan didn't kill each other in order to evolve the eye. How did the Tensigen evolve? According to Naruto's settings, there are two ways to open the Tensigen. First, the person with the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan transplants the Byakugan. However, Hinata has considerable doubts about this method. The reason is very simple. The Otsutsuki Kagaya in front of Hinata has both the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan and the Byakugan, but her Byakugan has not evolved into the Tensigen. Therefore, in Hinata's view, the first way to open the Tensigen may be the same as the Eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, which requires the transplantation of other people's Byakugan. The second way to open the Tensigen is to integrate a lot of Byakugan. Hamura's descendants succeeded in splitting the family once. If the Byakugan can be fused, then there's no reason why the Tensigen can't. This was the result of poor intelligence. Although Kagaya was very curious about Hinata's Tensigen, she would never have dreamed of the method of opening the Tensigen. After all, Byakugan did not have severe side effects like kaleidoscope. Since he wouldn't go blind, why would he try to steal other people's supercilious eyes? This is probably the reason why the Otsutsuki clan has not given birth to the Tensigen for countless years. Thinking about it carefully, Black Zetsu had planned for 1,000 years to resurrect Otsutsuki Kagaya. Why did it take so long? Isn't it because the Rinnegan has never appeared? Rinnegan requires both the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and the cells of the sage body to open, because the person who has these two powers must be the reincarnation of Indra and Asura. In the thousands of years of Uchiha history, countless clansmen have opened the eyes of the Uchiha clan, but the first person to have the Eternal Mangekyo was Madara. The reason why Black Zetsu has been dawdling for 1,000 years is probably that he has secretly done countless experiments, but he has never been able to open the Rinnegan. The appearance of Uchiha Madara is definitely a coincidence. Of course, the idea of stealing other people's supercilious eyes to open the Tensigen is also Hinata's guess. As for whether it is accurate or not. Anyway, Hinata will not experiment, nor will he casually talk about it. Just keep it as a secret forever. For a time, Hinata and Kagaya were speechless with their own thoughts. Hinata wondered how to subdue Otsutsuki Tonari silently, and then absorb the golden Tensigen. Kagaya had given up, and was ready to see Hinata make a fool of himself. Slowly floating in the air, Kagaya said lightly, I need some ninjutsu information. No problem, Hinata said readily. I can give it to you tomorrow. Kagaya nodded slightly. Then I will come and get it tomorrow. Hinata asked doubtfully. Aren't you going to stay? I'm not used to living with others. After saying that, Kaguya opened the space door and left. Really? Hinata complained and turned his head to look out of the window. The night is dark, and the moon is very round tonight. Has it been a month? Wait. Hinata suddenly held his head. Did Kaguya just say that she will come back tomorrow? Tomorrow. According to Kaguya's punctuality, since she said tomorrow, it must be 24 hours later. That is, in the middle of the night. I bought a watch last year. But then again, in fact, going back to sleep is the most delicious. If Hinata still has any religion, it must be going back to sleep. Turn off the light. Hinata. Turn on the light. Hinata first lay on the bed, covered with a small quilt. Then stretched out chakra and condensed it into the shape of a finger. Turn off the light. In the dark room, a pair of white eyes flashed with burning brilliance. Kaguya quietly left for half an hour. I can't sleep. Damn. Sure enough, going back to sleep has to wait until the sun comes out. Hinata is not a person who wastes time. Since he can't sleep, then find something to do. Turn on the light. Hinata sat at the desk and took out a stack of documents to read. Although the affairs of the ninja world are handled by the parliament in Hyogo, Hinata still needs to grasp the general direction, lest those people go astray. However, what Hinata is looking at now is not the affairs of the ninja world, but the secret letter from Orochimaru. Hinata ordered Orochimaru a month ago to integrate the remnants of the organizations. When the organizations are assembled, Orochimaru will join Hinata's ancestral country and become the dean of the Science and Technology Department, and secretly assist Hinata to control the organizations, secretly plan against Hinata's plan, lead all the opponents out, and then kill them all in one fell swoop. Bordered soil. If Orochimaru didn't mention this person, I would have almost forgotten about him. In Orochimaru's secret letter, it is mentioned that Bordered Soil is also secretly recruiting the remnants of the organizations, and it seems that he has other plans. Well, Hinata pondered for a moment. With the resurrection of Otsutsuki Kaguya, the truth of the Eyes of the Moon project was revealed, and everything about Bordered Soil was broken. Without the dream world of infinite Tsukuyomi, Bordered Soil naturally can't continue to create a world with Rin. The dream is broken. Obito, who was in despair, had to either walk out on his own or continue to sink deeper and deeper into the darkness. Now it seems that Bordered Soil's situation should be the latter. Bordered Soil is also a pitiful person. Hinata sighed. But a pitiful person must also have a hateful side. Bordered Soil must be dealt with. Although Hinata doesn't know what Bordered Soil wants to do for the time being, it can't be a good thing. This time, he needs to borrow Kakashi's dojutsu. Chapter 617. After sorting out the documents a little, Hinata found that there were still a lot of things to deal with, and a burst of sleepiness suddenly came to his mind. Sleep. Only when he has enough sleep can he have the energy to work. The next afternoon, Hinata found Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi has now moved to the Imperial City, and his position is very high. He is in charge of the security of all the cities in the ninja world. Yo. Hinata. Kakashi still had that lazy look on his face as he casually waved his hand in greeting. Although Hinata is the empress, she doesn't want to do formal etiquette, and she gets along with her former friends very casually. It's important to be open-minded. Hinata looked around a few times. Your office is good. It's more luxurious than Shinobu's Naruto office. It can only be said that the nobles of the Land of Fire really know how to enjoy themselves. After the ninja coup succeeded, they directly enjoyed the treatment of the nobles. Ah. Kakashi rolled his eyes and complained, I'm really busy recently. Hey. Hinata sat on the sofa. It's just for a while, it will be better after a while. The ninja world was too chaotic before. But as long as it stabilizes, it will be much easier in the future. Kakashi naturally understood this truth. Complaining is complaining, but he won't be careless. What can I do for you? I want to use your eyes. Kakashi's eyes slightly changed when he heard this. Hinata borrowed his eyes to deal with the other one. These days, Kakashi has tested his dojutsu many times. There is a special space hidden in the Sharingan. Bordered Soil is still alive. Kakashi's heart was complicated. He thought that it has been a month. No matter what the purpose of bordered soil was, since he failed, he can only hide in the future. But looking at Hinata's appearance, it's estimated that the bordered soil is starting to come out to make trouble again. Kakashi hesitated. Although the bordered soil was his good friend, Kakashi would not allow the bordered soil to destroy this world. However, Kakashi didn't want bordered soil to die either. Hinata glanced at Kakashi. As long as that eye is gone, you can deal with the bordered soil. Kakashi nodded slightly. This was probably the best outcome for bordered soil. Hinata walked to Kakashi's side and placed his hand on Kakashi's shoulder, transferring a surge of chakra that contained vitality. Kakashi pulled up his forehead protector. Divine Might. Space rotated, and Hinata and Kakashi arrived in the God Might space at the same time. There was no one here. Hinata said, "Bordered soil won't stay here on weekdays. Let's go out and find the bordered soil first." As soon as the words fell, a piece of wood spread out behind Hinata, gradually condensing into the appearance of Hinata, and finally broke away. "Wood clone, you stay here," Hinata said. "Kakashi-sensei, let's go out first." Kakashi nodded slightly and left the God Might space with Hinata. "What should we do next?" Kakashi asked. Bordered soil can hide in the ninja world for so many years. Naturally, he has his unique ability. As long as the bordered soil himself doesn't want to show up, those ninjas alone can't find the bordered soil. What's more, the ninja world has just been pacified, and there are still many things that need to be dealt with by ninjas, so they can't spare too many people. He can't let Hinata find the bordered soil himself, right? "Leave it to me." Hinata waved his hand. Tensigen. Eye-opening. Link to artificial satellite. Artificial satellite is definitely Hinata's greatest invention. Although it's not high-tech, and the internal structure is very simple, with the ability of Tensigen, artificial satellite is definitely the best support for Hinata. The world seen by Tensigen is colorful, but if the ability of Byakugan is used, the world will become black and white. The artificial satellite floating in outer space began to move slowly, and every corner of the ninja world was under Hinata's vision. Byakugan can see through objects, and it can also see the flow of chakra. It's not easy to find ordinary people, and it's also not easy to find ordinary ninjas, but to find a special chakra ninja is like looking for the moon in the night. Bordered soil has Hashirama cells in his body, and he has a Sharingan. The characteristics are too obvious. And since bordered soil wants to cause trouble, and at the same time, he lost the help of White Zetsu, in order to collect information, he naturally won't be far away from the place where ninjas gather. Found it. Hinata was surprised. This is Canopy Bridge. Where is he? Kakashi asked quickly. Although he was very confused about Hinata's ability, it's taboo for ninjas to inquire about each other's ability. Abilities can only be collected through information. But there are always some ninjas who take the initiative to expose their abilities, and they take the initiative to tell their enemies in battle. Hinata turned his head and looked at Kakashi. This is the first time Hinata saw Kakashi show such an expression. Bordered soil is really important to him. No wonder Kakashi has never married. Alas! Hinata sighed and said lightly, "Canopy Bridge." What? Kakashi's mood quickly calmed down. Let's go. Hinata nodded slightly, and the black space door in front of him slowly opened. Originally, Hinata had to open 6 Tomo Rinnegan if he wanted to use Yomiuri Yorizaka. But Hinata has been studying Yin-Yang release for the past few years. After familiarizing himself with the usage of Yomiuri Yorizaka, Hinata can use this ability in normal state. Just like Uchiha Madara can use Susanoo without eyes. However, some abilities must be open to use. Let's go. Entering the space door, the scene in front of him changed. This is Canopy Bridge. Kakashi looked at everything in front of him, and he couldn't help but have mixed feelings. Even if he hasn't been here for many years, Kakashi is still familiar with everything here. This is the place where Kakashi's hope was born, but at the same time, it is also the beginning of his second despair. Here, Kakashi came out of the shadow of his father's death, but his friend who helped him out of the shadow died here. Hinata looked at his feet. There is a secret base hidden underground, and bordered soil is staying there at the moment. Hinata didn't go in directly, because Hinata left a wood clone in the Kamui space. As long as bordered soil perceives the arrival of Hinata and Kakashi, he has only two choices. Either come out and fight, or turn around and run. But no matter what bordered soil chooses, he must use Kamui, because this base has no entrance or exit. As long as bordered soil uses Kamui, Hinata's wood clone can instantly subdue bordered soil. The space in front of him rotated quickly. Perceiving Kakashi, bordered soil chose to show up. Kakashi's eyes were complicated, and he stared at bordered soil who was about to appear. Puff! The spiral mask on bordered soil's face instantly shattered, and his eyes turned into two bloody holes in an instant. With a flash of green light, the cells in bordered soil's eyes began to wriggle, condensing into two ordinary eyes. Kamui Sharingan and the 3 Tomo Sharingan that bordered soil used to use Izanagi have been obtained. With the Byakugan, Hinata naturally saw through bordered soil's trump card. Patting Kakashi's shoulder, Hinata sighed and said, "You guys can catch up, I'll go ahead and rest for a while." Kakashi looked at bordered soil who fell to the ground and was speechless for a long time. Chapter 618. Finally, I solved Kakashi's marriage. At this moment, Hinata felt that he had achieved his goal. As a transmigrator from the 21st century, Hinata will never despise the love between men. If Kakashi and bordered soil can be together, Hinata will silently bless them for 100 years. It's a pity that Akai will die. Hinata sighed. He doesn't know if bordered soil will be kicked to death by Akai's Night Kai. Hinata can accept the love between men, but if Kakashi starts a harem, Hinata will definitely despise him. Scumbag. For bordered soil, Hinata's heart was slightly complicated. After bordered soil became dark, he did all kinds of bad things and killed countless people. Handing over bordered soil to Kakashi is satisfactory. Even if Kakashi still has feelings for bordered soil, he won't do it for personal reasons. Life imprisonment. Well, maybe for Kakashi, it may be a golden house to keep a mistress. Manual comedy. Then next, Hinata looked up at the sky. In broad daylight, of course, the moon can't be seen. At this moment, the moon is still on the other side of the ninja world. The space door opened, and Hinata silently appeared over the Otsutsuki castle on the moon. Black history. Hinata curled his lips. The last time he came here, Hinata was shocked by the Tensigen in the Tensigen, guessing that Otsutsuki Hamura might still be alive, so he could only retreat with his tail between his legs. But from this, it can be seen how powerful the Golden Tensigen is. Even Hinata was scared away. Thinking of the previous meeting with Kagaya, Hinata guessed that Otsutsuki Hamura might really be dead. This eye is just a relic of Hamura. Of course, Hinata would not let his guard down because of this. Because Hagoromo and Hamura's souls are still there, their chakra is still there, it's just that it's in the Pure Land world. Rinnegan can resurrect the dead. Moreover, it was a true resurrection. Rikudu Sanin Otsutsuki Hagoromo could not only enter and exit the Yin and Yang realms at will, but he could also easily channel the souls of the dead from the Pure Land to the present world. And most importantly, Otsutsuki Hagoromo has Rinnegan. These conditions are enough for the Sage of the Six Paths to return to the shinobi world and achieve a true resurrection. It may be a little difficult, but at most it's like Uchiha Madara, transplanting the Rinnegan to others and manipulating them to use the Rinnegan technique. Could it be that I overestimated them? Hinata used the Byakugan to explore the Otsutsuki castle, while secretly thinking, if the body of the Six Paths sage has decayed, it means that his Rinnegan has disappeared. And the Rinnegan possessed by the soul is just the realization of the Yin-Yang release, not the real Rinnegan. Just like how Edo Tsubasa can use Rinnegan. No matter. Hinata suppressed the doubts in his heart. No matter how much he guessed, it's better to test it himself. As long as Hinata touches the Golden Tensigen, the truth will come to light. The space door opened again, and Hinata quietly appeared in the Otsutsuki castle, floating behind Otsutsuki Tonari. Sleep. Hinata whispered. Boom. Otsutsuki Tonari fell to the ground. At this time, although Tonari has no eyes, he still has the blood of the Otsutsuki clan, and his strength is actually very strong. But after all, he is not the Tensigen Otsutsuki Tonari in the movie, and he has no resistance against Hinata. After knocking down Tonari, Hinata launched the Tensigen's power, controlled the puppets in the castle, and then quickly flew toward the reincarnation space. That's it. Through the space door, Hinata entered the reincarnation space and saw the golden Tensigen for the first time, destroying the world and creating the world. In many cases, it was easy to destroy something, but it was extremely difficult to create something. Destroying the world and creating the world are not at the same level of difficulty at all. Nuclear weapons can destroy the Earth, but can that thing create the Earth? With the technology of Hinata's previous life, it's easy to destroy the world, but creating the world is as difficult as ascending to the sky. Even the current Hinata can't create the world. But the eye in front of Hinata is the real eye that can create the world. Well, to put it simply, it can create a planet, and then let life appear on the planet, and gradually, intelligent life. Hinata couldn't stop his excitement. Can it be merged? Hinata carefully opened the Tensigen and 6 Tomo Rinnegan at the same time, perceiving everything in the golden Tensigen. Although the energy contained in the golden Tensigen is not comparable to the Jubi's, it's an eye, not a fusion of chakra like the Jubi. The power of this eye is similar to the power of the Rinnegan Sharingan on Kagaya's forehead. It's too strong. After all, it's an eye cultivated by the ten-tailed tree for thousands of years. This cultivation method is actually similar to Tsunade's In seal. In order to maintain life, the Gedo Mazo passively absorbs natural energy and transforms it into vitality. Because of this, the nine-tailed beasts have an immortal lifespan. Even if the body is destroyed, it will be revived after a while. But the Gedo Mazo absorbs too much natural energy and transforms too much vitality. In the case of being stripped of chakra, if not controlled, the Gedo Mazo will restore chakra and then break through the seal of Chibaku Tensei. That's why this eye is here. The vitality that the Gedo Mazo transforms for thousands of years all flows into this Tensigen. What a waste! Hinata suddenly shook his head. Tsunade wastes a lot of chakra every day. One can imagine how much vitality Kagaya wastes every day. But if he wants to use this vitality, he must summon the Tree of Light. Because in the case of the fusion of the Tree of Light and Kagaya, this vitality will first become Senjutsu chakra and then be wasted by Kagaya. It seems there is no problem. It's time to try the fusion. Hinata carefully moved forward, fearing that the golden Tensigen will suddenly attack him. Tensigen chakra mode, open. The green chakra hand extended from Hinata's hand and merged into the golden Tensigen little by little. It's so direct and violent. This is the power of yin-yang release. Even the bordered soil can pull out a part of the tailed beast's power from Madara's body. Facing the ownerless Tensigen, Hinata can naturally deal with it easily. Absorb. Hinata no longer hesitated. When the power of the golden Tensigen flowed into Hinata's eyes, in Hinata's soul space, an old figure appeared out of thin air. I finally see you, Junior. Otsutsuki Hamura slowly opened his eyes and looked calmly at Hinata, who was still a little stunned. He has heard a lot of legends about Hinata. Chapter 619. What an excellent junior. Looking at the young Hinata in front of him, Hamura couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Unlike Hinata's bragging in the past, Hamura knows that Hinata's current strength is entirely due to his own talent and hard work. As for the power inherited from his bloodline, it has long been diluted in countless generations of inheritance. However, Hamura is also very curious about how Hinata cultivated to such strength in this era. What are you planning? Hinata was very nervous. The seemingly old figure in front of him is a real 1,000-year-old monster, and he has already invaded Hinata's soul space through the power of the golden Tensigen. Although this is Hinata's soul space, since Hamura has already entered, it means that the door of the soul space has been opened. Hinata has no experience in fighting in the soul space. You don't need to be nervous. Hamura's attitude was quite kind. I have no malice towards you. Bah, what a load of lies. Hinata didn't believe a single punctuation mark of Hamura's words. The human heart is unpredictable. Who knows what these 1,000-year-old monsters are planning? Even Hinata has his own plans. Hinata doesn't believe that these old guys who have lived for thousands of years will be obedient. It's fine if they don't have the strength. But Hamura obviously still retain the power they had when they were alive. Hamura shook his head and smiled helplessly. You were quite cute when you were a child. How did you become like this now? Hinata said expressionlessly. This is all because of the teachings of father. Hinata didn't have the slightest psychological burden to blame Hyogo. Have you seen me when I was a child? Hinata asked. Hamura looked at Hinata strangely, blinked his eyes, and said, Didn't you say that you saw me when you were a child? I also gave you a part of my power. Hinata. Although Hinata wants to ask Hamura why he came to his soul space at this moment. However, no matter what, he couldn't bring himself to ask. After all, Hinata was the one who absorbed the power of the Golden Tensigen first, and he only had himself to blame for this. However, for the sake of his own life, Hinata was still prepared to fight to the death. Seeing Hinata's nervous little face tense, Hamura comforted him kindly. You don't have to be so nervous. If I wanted to hurt you, I would have done it before. Hinata was stunned. You? Hamura sighed silently and asked, Do you think I'm dead or alive now? Of course he was dead. Hinata was a little confused. Of course, Hamura was already dead, but seeing Hamura in front of him, Hinata felt that he wasn't dead at all. As if seeing Hinata's confusion, Hamura slowly explained. Life and death are just two concepts. The living are often afraid of death, but what is there to be afraid of? It's just going to another world to continue living. Hinata was silent, and suddenly said, Are you here to stop me from absorbing the power of the Golden Tensigen? Hamura took a deep breath and looked at Hinata helplessly. I'm talking to you about the philosophy of life, and you're talking to me about interests? Do you understand what I'm saying? Of course, Hinata understood, and he has seen similar words countless times on the internet in his previous life. It's useless. Hamura shook his head. Since Mother has been resurrected, there is no need for this eye to exist. Besides, Hamura sighed, the junior named Otsutsuki Tonari was too stubborn. He was going to use the power of this eye to reseal Otsutsuki Kagaya. The sins he and his brother have left behind thousands of years of pain for future generations. Let everything in the past be in the past. On the contrary, this Hinata, although he looks sloppy and not serious, he never excessively obsesses over something. Even if he pursues power, he knows how to restrain himself. And he also has his own unique views on the development of the world. Instead of leaving the Tensigen to Otsutsuki Tonari, it's better to leave it to Hinata. After all, Hinata is ready to leave the ninja world. That clan is not so easy to deal with. Hearing Hamura's words, Hinata's face was full of suspicion, looking at Hamura vigilantly. That you wouldn't want to take the opportunity to seize my body to resurrect, right? Otsutsuki Hamura. What the? Hamura suddenly felt that his care for the younger generation was fed to the dogs. If this old man wanted to be resurrected, I could have been resurrected hundreds of years ago. If this old man didn't want to die, I wouldn't have died back then. Hinata nodded. These words were also somewhat sincere. Even Hinata can find a way to live forever, let alone the Hagoromo and Hamura brothers. As long as the two brothers stay in Mount Myaboku, they can live safely until now. Hinata gave a thumbs up. Free and easy. Hamura's face was black. In fact, thinking about it carefully, such a thing like resurrection can only be done by Orochimaru. For people who master yin-yang release and control vitality, possession is just the lowest method. It's just a body, it can be condensed at will. Thinking of this, Hinata immediately felt relieved. Then why did you come to see me? Hinata was a little curious. Don't tell me there's something you want to entrust me with. Or is he here to preach? Hamura became serious and said lightly, The higher you fly, the smaller the scenery you see. And for those who can't fly, your figure will become smaller and smaller. One day, you will be separated from those ordinary people. They will gradually forget you, and you will gradually ignore their existence, or even not care about them. Hinata. This old man really came to preach. Why do I have to fly so high? Hinata refuted. It's never strength, status, power, or money that affects the distance between people, but your own mentality. In fact, Hinata can understand this mentality very well. Take Hinata for example. Hinata now has almost everything. Eternal lifespan, invincible strength, absolute authority, and inexhaustible money. Under the influence of such foreign things, people who worked at sunrise and went to bed at sunset would find their lives dull and uninteresting. A busy life, in the end ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But Hinata is an otaku. As long as he has a house, food and entertainment, he can live a happy life. If he has a few friends, he can get together occasionally, that will be perfect. As for other things, it's just a guarantee for this kind of life. Sure enough, Hinata has always believed that his mentality is the most qualified immortal. If he is indifferent to everything because of immortality, he might as well die. Looking at Hamura in front of him, Hinata suddenly felt that he was a little pitiful. Although there are many people in the world, he is alone and incompatible with the whole world. Compared to Kaguya who sleeps for 1,000 years, isn't the life of Hagoromo and Hamura wandering alone for 1,000 years cruel punishment? Chapter 620. Looking at Hinata in front of him, Hamura's eyes flashed with envy. Hinata was still very young. Even if he lived 2 lives, he didn't experience too many things. Fighting was one thing, but in many ways Hinata was well protected by his family. His parents used to be his parents, and now they are his parents. But because of this, Hinata was so attached to the world of mortals. Even if he could understand Hamura's mentality at this time, he didn't experience it personally, and he couldn't really put himself in it. To put it simply, it's easy to talk without knowing. But think about those children who lack parental care since childhood. Like my love, Sasuke, Kimimaro, Naruto's childhood tragedy wasn't just a joke. The reason why Hinata is attached to reality is that Hinata is full of love. There are parents, relatives, and friends. But if you're alone, you can only watch the people around you leave one by one. Son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter. They are all ahead of you. There are fewer and fewer friends around you, and gradually, there is no one you can talk to. Those who know you will gradually deify you because of your ability and worship you in the temple. If you make a mistake, they will demonize you. If you know that you will die, then you may like this life very much, high and mighty, looking down on all living beings. But if you are immortal, then everything will lose its meaning. Because the more you have, the less you care. One day, you will understand me. After envy, only pity for Hinata was left in Hamura's heart. Sooner or later, Hinata will be like him, gradually indifferent to everything and ignore everything. If there was a trace of persistence in his heart, Hamura felt that it might be good for him to disappear. No, Hinata shook his head. I'm different from you. The biggest difference between Hamura and Kaguya is that Hamura and Hagoromo were born in the ninja world, and Kaguya was born on the planet of the Otsutsuki clan. Hamura and Hagoromo have seen many life and death separations, so they were indifferent. However, Huiyi had seen undying and indestructible people since he was young, so Huiyi could adapt to all of this. Their living environments were different, so they had different mentalities. Although Hinata was also born in the ninja world, Hinata's previous life was in the 21st century where information was exploding. To put it simply, Hinata was a theoretical emperor. Forget it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Hinata blinked. Then, Hamura-sama, are you going to stop me from absorbing the Tensigen? After understanding Hamura's mentality, Hinata was temporarily relieved and reluctantly agreed that the person in front of him was an amiable elder. It seems like Hamura really came here just to see Hinata. Hamura didn't answer immediately. Instead, he asked seriously, Hinata, if one day you defeat the Otsutsuki clan, I'm sure you'll be able to defeat them. What do you want to do the most after the victory? Hinata opened his mouth and said, Eat, sleep, and play Sasuke. Hamura. What the hell is this about playing Sasuke? Are you the reincarnation of Indra? Does Indra know that you played Sasuke? Hinata. In fact, Hinata really thought about this matter, that is, to return to the current life. When you are undying and indestructible, you may feel lonely and feel that the world is rejecting you. But when the people around you are also undying and indestructible, you will no longer be an alien in the eyes of others. Being accepted by everyone is being accepted by the world. Now that Hinata has started the Sage Age, even if the probability of cultivating the Sage body is very low, the ninja world has already entered the Sage Age. When immortality and indestructibility were right in front of their eyes, Hinata was just an ordinary but relatively strong person to the people of this world. For today's Hinata, changing the world is far easier than changing himself. For example, Hinata can't let himself not eat for a day, but Hinata can let the people of the ninja world not eat for a day. All they had to do was to set a festival where they didn't eat. It was effortless. Anyway, not eating for a day won't starve people to death. Hamura said helplessly, "Be serious." "I'm very serious." Hinata also said with a serious face, "I won't completely destroy the Otsutsuki clan. If there are no enemies, we will become arrogant. Born in peace and happiness, die in sorrow. As for how to live after defeating the Otsutsuki clan, of course, it is to return to the current life." Regardless of whether Hamura can understand or not, Hinata said his thoughts about immortality. Hamura also listened quietly. Hinata's theory sounds very reasonable. Hamura also yearns for such a world. If everyone has the opportunity to live forever, then the immortals will no longer be a superior alien. Starting the universal era, leaving behind a powerful enemy, can also ensure that there won't be any major internal turmoil. Hinata continued, "But the Otsutsuki clan has the Tree of Light. They may use the power of the Tree of Light to let people in our world be undercover for them. Although this kind of thing can't be avoided, it can also be prevented." Hinata talked endlessly. Hamura listened carefully at first, but after a while he couldn't stand it anymore. If he continues to let Hinata talk, Hinata can talk for 3 days and 3 nights. Okay. Hamura shook his head and sighed. "I'll give you that eye. If it continues to stay in the reincarnation, it will bring disaster to this world sooner or later. We will see each other again." He was truly an outstanding junior. Hamura's figure gradually faded, and finally disappeared completely in Hinata's soul space. However, Hinata didn't relax his vigilance, but checked in the soul space 6 or 7 times, and even checked his whole body repeatedly. He didn't even let go of a single cell. It wasn't until Hinata was sure that there was nothing abnormal in his body that he was really relieved. What a kind old man. I was wrong about him before. Hinata shook his head. He decided, from now on, Kurokuroto Sannin will be the only one. As for Hamura, anyway, his sense of existence is not high, and no one in the ninja world knows him. He will continue to be a little transparent. Golden Tensigen. Hinata also repeatedly checked several times. After confirming that there was no problem, Hinata began to continue to absorb the eye power. The warm feeling flowed along the green chakra hand into Hinata's body, and then along the meridians into Hinata's eyes. Hinata's body, soul, and eyes seemed to be wrapped in warm spring water. There was a sense of coolness, and at the same time, it was as gentle as jade, so comfortable that Hinata's body itched. His whole soul was sublimated at this moment. Whoosh dash! The eye power of the Golden Tensigen seemed to be endless. As the eye power flowed into Hinata's eyes, the Golden Tensigen seemed to gradually become smaller, and slowly approached Hinata's eyes. Hinata's originally light blue Tensigen was faintly shining with golden light. Chapter 621. Obito Blabber Blabber. Kakashi Babble. Bordered Soil Babble. Kakashi Babble, Hinata. When Hinata returned to the shinobi world again, he saw bordered soil lying on the ground and Kakashi sitting on it. Their clothes were disheveled, their limbs were entangled, their mouths were arguing, and their bodies occasionally trembled a few times. There were also a few pools of bright red blood on the ground. So intense. It seems that they already had a fight before. Hinata couldn't help but put his hand on his forehead. He was squatting on the tree at the moment, but neither of them noticed him. They were completely immersed in their own world, and they only had each other in their eyes. Moreover, the two of them were quarreling over such trivial matters. One was constantly accusing the other of not protecting Rin, and making him feel despair about the world. The other was accusing the other of not sinking into the darkness, and earnestly persuading the other to turn back. Cough cough. Hinata coughed lightly, trying to attract the attention of the two. Bordered Soil and Kakashi ignored Hinata. Hinata. Cough 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 cough. Hinata? Kakashi turned his head sharply and was about to say something, but Bordered Soil kicked Kakashi away. Bordered Soil's face was a little embarrassed. After all, his previous posture was a bit indecent. Bordered Soil. Kakashi said bitterly. Bordered Soil was expressionless. His whole body was lying on the ground. He seemed to have completely given up resistance. His hands were on the ground, and his legs were slightly open, deleted. The child has a fever. After a pause, Hinata clenched his right fist and put it on his mouth, coughed lightly, and continued. The child has a fever. Most of them are pretending. Just beat them up. After that, Hinata glanced at the Bordered Soil with a dangerous look. Sasuke was the one with the most serious Shinibu disease in the shinobi world. He was treated by Hinata for 6 years, but he still couldn't be cured. However, Bordered Soil was only in his 30s, and he still had at least a few decades to recover. Eventually, he would be cured. But then again, the Uchiha family seemed to be a little Shinibu. Uchiha Madara had been Shinibu all his life, and even after his resurrection, he was still Shinibu. This is an illness. It has to be treated. Hinata decided to use the Bordered Soil as a research subject for the Shinibu disease. He wanted to study the theory and treatment of this disease. Hinata looked at Kakashi and asked, "Can you take him away?" Kakashi was stunned. What? Looks like it didn't work. Hinata pondered for a moment. There was one move that he hadn't used in a long time. Body flicker technique. Hinata silently appeared in front of the Bordered Soil, and he was already in the starting position of the 128 palms. Soft fist technique. Kidney attack for 128 palms. Hinata's speed was very fast, not to mention the Bordered Soil who had lost his Sharingan. Even Kakashi with his Sharingan could barely catch a glimpse of him. 2 palms. Bang. Bang. 4 palms. Bang. 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 128 palms. Bang 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 bang. Hinata's soft fist technique, kidney attack, was no longer the nightmare of the previous man. He used medical ninjutsu to heal the injury of the opponent at the moment of the attack. For Hinata, it was a piece of cake. The kidney exploded in an instant, and then healed in an instant. This process was repeated over and over again. With Hinata's current physique and chakra capacity, as long as Hinata wanted to, even if he fought for 3 days and 3 nights, he would only be mentally exhausted. Most importantly, he couldn't kill anyone. In fact, if Hinata found the other party pleasing to the eye, he could even use a little of his life force. That was a palm technique that could really strengthen the opponent's kidney and body. At most, it would be 100 million points of pain. Listen to the screams of the Bordered Soil. Even this kind of strong-willed ninja couldn't bear it. His injuries were already healed, but he still felt pain. Bang. Hinata stopped his momentum, and Bordered Soil was sent flying far away. He fell to the ground with a bang, his face pale and ferocious, as if he was enduring indescribable pain. However, looking at Bordered Soil's eyes, Hinata knew that this guy's Shinibu disease had not been cured yet. Take him back first. Hinata said to Kakashi, there will be plenty of time to convince this guy in the future. But then again, although Shinobu is no longer here, this guy is still a terrorist. Kakashi-sensei, as the security minister, you will have to work harder in the future. Sigh. After all, it was Kakashi-sensei's past. Hinata couldn't beat Bordered Soil every day. The research subject to cure the Shinibu disease. Sasuke is the best choice. Kakashi nodded and looked directly at Bordered Soil. You have no future. Hinata was surprised. So ruthless? Is he going to take the route of a domineering president? Back in the Imperial City, Kakashi left with Bordered Soil, preparing to interrogate and then lock him up. Hinata opened the space door and left again, preparing to experiment with the advanced Tensigen. On an isolated island far away from the mainland, Hinata got out of the space door. Tensigen eye-opening. The pure white pupil turned golden, with a pale golden circle outside and a golden circle inside. Within the golden circle, there was a snowflake-like pattern. Hinata stretched out his hand and condensed a water mirror. No matter how you look at it, the Golden Tensigen is much more advanced than before. This contact lens must be given a 5-star rating. Although I don't know the level of the Tensigen, the pupil power of these eyes is definitely far beyond the 6-tomo Rinnegan. The Tensigen is not like the Rinnegan, which can be distinguished by the tomo. However, judging from the color and pattern, the Golden Tensigen is definitely more advanced than the Blue Tensigen and Purple Tensigen. This feeling. Maybe he can fight with the strongest person of the Otsutsuki clan. In terms of level, he may still be one level lower than the opponent, but these eyes should already have the ability to hurt the opponent. As long as he can break the opponent's defense, he can fight. With a light sigh, Hinata finally had some confidence. The original fear of the Otsutsuki clan gradually turned into, well, he still has to be careful. Let's get the 6-god armor first. Anyway, there are still several years, or even more than 10 years before the Otsutsuki clan sends out small soldiers. When they come over, I'm afraid it will be a few decades later. Such a long time is definitely enough for Hinata to eat a few waves of soldiers and push a few towers to develop. There is nothing to be afraid of. In fact, there is no need to experiment. Just by perceiving the pupil power of the eyes, Hinata has a feeling that he can shake the planet under his feet. If the repulsive force is fully activated, Hinata can really push a planet to move in the universe. If he uses gravity, he can also gather a large number of small meteorites in the universe and condense them into a new planet. Then, if he uses Mokuton, it will be a large primitive forest. Water release and earth release can change the landscape of the planet. There is water, there is forest, there is sunlight. With the evolution of time, new life may be born. The power of creation. Chapter 622. But there seems to be no new dojutsu. Hinata was 100% satisfied with the Golden Tensigen, whether it was the beauty or the inner quality. But the new dojutsu that Hinata had been looking forward to for a long time didn't seem to have been generated. It shouldn't be. Hinata scratched his head, his small face wrinkled, full of grievances. The Rinnegan has a new dojutsu. My Tensigen can't be so bad. Ding. A light bulb lit up on Hinata's head. Got it. Tensigen chakra mode, open. The golden light was extremely dazzling. This is... The Tensigen chakra mode turned golden? Hinata's face was full of surprise. He finally wasn't shining green anymore. And this state of golden flames around his body was too cool. Unlike Naruto's Nine-Tails chakra mode, Hinata's Tensigen chakra mode was as if his whole body was burning with golden flames, dazzling and cool. If it was at night, then Hinata would be the most dazzling boy under the starry sky. The increase is very strong. Hinata's face was full of joy. If the eye power of the Golden Tensigen is equivalent to the Rinnegan Sharingan, then in the Tensigen chakra mode, the chakra used by Hinata has reached the level of perfect Senjutsu chakra. Only the Senjutsu body is left. In the Tensigen mode, Hinata's eye power and chakra quality are already at the same level as Kagaya. As long as Hinata's life level is improved again and reaches the level of perfect Senjutsu, Hinata will truly reach the realm of Kagaya. The Tensigen is indeed stronger than the Rinnegan. Hinata was satisfied. Perhaps in terms of eye power level, the power of the Tensigen and the Rinnegan are similar, but the Tensigen chakra mode, like the Sage mode, can directly improve the level of chakra. This is absolutely impossible for the Rinnegan to do. What's more, if Hinata's Senjutsu reaches the level of perfect Senjutsu, then under the Tensigen chakra mode, Hinata's chakra level may be close to the level of the Supreme Senjutsu CHRA mode. This was a pair of eyes that could truly surpass one's level in battle. What's more, there's a new dough. A truth-seeking ball flashing with golden light slowly floated from behind Hinata to her hand. It's stronger. To be honest, the truth-seeking orb was not a powerful skill. It was good for crushing noobs, but it could only be used as a support in high-level games. Generally speaking, as is chakra, but in the Tensigen chakra mode, there are many moves that can only be used with the truth-seeking ball. Chakra. Combined with repulsive and attractive forces, chakras. As expected, the truth-seeking jade is only fit to be a support. The original omniscience and omnipotence was to see through the future for a period of time, then condense a body to cause trouble in the future world. But if he uses omniscience and omnipotence through the truth-seeking ball in the Tensigan chakra mode, then this move can be considered a BUG. No. Being omniscient and omnipotent was already a BUG. Although it needs to be used with line of sight, if it is used with artificial satellites, Hinata can cover the entire ninja world. But now, the omniscient and omnipotent could directly change the rules of the game. If this world was a game world, then Hinata would be the game's GM under her normal omniscience. But if the Tensigan chakra mode activates omniscience and omnipotence, then Hinata would be the game designer. Within his line of sight, Hinata was almost omnipotent. Artificial satellite, Link. The artificial satellites covering the entire shinobi world were activated at the same time. At this moment, Hinata was like a god overlooking the whole world. A flower, a leaf, a grain of sand, Hinata can see everything clearly. Byakugan's line of sight can even penetrate hundreds of meters underground. Hinata can peek at the world from the perspective of outer space, but he can still see the scenery underground. This feeling is really like he is a god. Omnipotent. The new Akatsuki, Kakashi, Hyogo in the Imperial City, Itachi Uchiha living in seclusion in a village. As long as Hinata is familiar with the other party's chakra, he can find the other party's location in an instant. Let's use father as an experiment. Hinata felt that it was better to get familiar with him. First, Hyogo won't expose Hinata's ability, and second, even if he offends the other party, Hyogo will forgive Hinata. Omniscient and omnipotent, activate. It's still a black and white world, but it's no longer the previous world. Hinata seems to have come to a higher dimension. He can see more clearly and do more things. This is father's spiritual thread? Well, let's try this. Hinata had an idea. After turning off the omniscient and omnipotent mode, Hinata carefully observed Hyogo's every move. Imperial City, Hyuga residence. Hyogo was discussing things with the main family elder and branch family representative Hyuga Hizashi. Just as they were talking about the key point, Hyogo's face suddenly changed. His originally serious face had a bit of a strange color, and the corner of his eyes twitched a few times unconsciously. Brother? Hyuga Hizashi instantly became vigilant, and his face was worried. Are you injured? No. I'm fine. Hyogo reluctantly said a few words, and then quickly waved his hand, indicating everyone to leave. The main family elder and Hyuga Hizashi looked at each other, completely unable to make a decision. Hyogo is the backbone of the Hyuga family. If Hyogo has an accident, the Hyuga family will definitely be dragged into the ditch by Hinata. Let's go out first. Hyogo's head was full of cold sweat. He gritted his teeth and said, I'm fine. Everyone looked at each other, but they still left the conference room in an instant. Hyogo took a deep breath, suppressing the turbulent in his stomach, quickly ran to the bathroom, opened the door and rushed directly in. Hinata looked back with a strange expression. So strong. Ninjas have extremely high control of their own body, and excellent ninjas can even not go to the bathroom for several days and nights. Because when performing a mission in the wild, a little smell will expose the traces. For a ninja like Hyogo, it's impossible for him to suddenly have a stomachache during a meeting. It's Hinata's omniscient and omnipotent state that controlled Hyogo's nervous system, which made him have the illusion of having a stomachache. The brain controls the body through the nervous system. In Hinata's previous life, there was an experiment. A prisoner was tied up and blindfolded, and then the prisoner's wrist was pretended to be cut open, and the prisoner would bleed to death in a few hours. A few hours later, the prisoner really died. In other words, when the brain determines that a person is dead, that person will die. And in the Tensigan chakra mode, through the omniscient and omnipotent state of the truth-seeking ball, one can see the corresponding relationship of the human nervous system. By plucking these nerve lines, one can have corresponding feelings or thoughts. Was this an illusion? Hinata scratched his head. It seems a bit similar to Kodo Amatsukami. He looked at Hyuga Hayashi. Should I try again? Chapter 6:23. Bathroom. Hyogo's face was very awkward. This time, he completely lost his face in front of the clan. He has never lost his composure like this before. But Hyogo's face showed a trace of doubt. Today's matter is full of strangeness. Not to mention the ninja's ability to control his body, Hyogo's current physical fitness is absolutely impossible for him to suddenly have diarrhea. And with his caution, it is absolutely impossible for him to be poisoned. And no one will give Hyuga Hayashi a poison that will make his stomach go bad. And what makes Hyogo even more scared is that he really has diarrhea. This is definitely not an illusion. On the other side, Hinata is also very confused. Father is using the toilet. Should I peek or not? But if I don't peep, I can't test my new ability as soon as possible. In the past, Hinata didn't care much about time, but now he feels like a year. He can't wait to test his new ability on Hyogo's body. Occasionally he peeps. Finally, it's over. Omniscient, omnipotent, activate. In the black and white world, Hinata once again moved Hyogo's spirit thread. Hyogo residence. Hyogo, who just came out of the bathroom, suddenly had a sudden impulse to see the unborn baby in his wife's stomach. He quickened his steps and walked to his courtyard. Just as he stepped into the courtyard, something is wrong. Hyogo suddenly stopped. His forehead was full of cold sweat. This is definitely not normal. When he just came out of the bathroom, he wanted to call the clan elders to continue the meeting, but suddenly he wanted to see his wife. This idea came very suddenly. And it was very strange. Hyogo knows that he is definitely a man who prioritizes important matters. He will never suddenly run to see his wife during a meeting with the clan. What the hell is going on? Hyogo frowned. Hinata? Hyogo knew very well in his heart that if there was anyone in this world who would use such a joke to attack him, then that person would definitely be Hinata. Furthermore, he can even hide it from me. But this ability. Has Hinata become stronger again? What a terrifying talent. On the other side, Hinata deactivated the Tensigen chakra mode with a look of surprise on his face. He was so excited that all the cells in his body were trembling. Too strong. Hinata felt that the current him could definitely fight 3 of his previous self. If it was a one-on-one fight, he would be able to crush his previous self. Under the Tensigen chakra mode, not only is his physical fitness improved in all aspects, but the Tensigen dojutsu has also reached a qualitative level. Maybe, if I can cultivate the sealing technique to a higher level, with my omniscient and omnipotent sneak attack, even the strongest person of the Otsutsuki clan may be able to seal him in an instant. Invincible in the universe. However, because there is no specific reference, Hinata can't determine what kind of ability that strong person has. And he's not sure whether the current sealing technique of the shinobi world can be used to seal him successfully. However, the new omniscient and omnipotent ability still brought a huge surprise to Hinata. By fluctuating other people's nerve lines, it can affect other people's physical state and thoughts. Although this ability seems to have no power, its value is definitely not comparable to those destructive jutsu. If Hinata is fighting 2 enemies, then Hinata can use this ability to make one of the enemies attack the other. But according to Old Man's reaction at the time, if I affect the other party's thoughts and deviate from the other party's subjective will, the other party will also react. But at the moment of affecting the other party's thoughts, it should be difficult for the other party to react. Well, the tactical significance is very good. Hinata was satisfied and didn't want to stay in the wild for too long. He waved his hand and opened the space door to return to the Hyuga residence in the Imperial City. Wani-sama. The 11-year-old Hua-Hua wasn't as fun as she was when she was a child. Her originally red flat face became a little smaller. Her hair was disheveled, and she didn't dress up. She was wearing a gray practice suit and looked rustic. But looking carefully, Hua-Hua's delicate little face already had the appearance of a beauty. Yo. Hinata hugged Hua-Hua in his arms. School is over so early today. Yeah. Hua-Hua nodded and looked up at Hinata, her face slightly blushed. Father Sama is looking for you. The corner of Hinata's mouth twitched a little. Could it be that something has happened? Hinata felt a little guilty, took Hua-Hua's small hand and smiled. Let's go. Big sister will take you out to eat today. After coming to the Imperial City, you haven't eaten the food here, have you? When he put down Hua-Hua, Hinata had secretly integrated Otsutsuki Tonari's cells into Huahua's body. In any case, Huahua is also Hinata's sister, especially this sister complex attribute. Hinata simply loves it. In contrast, Hinata doesn't like Hyuga Niji, who has a sister complex attribute. Hinata remembers that in the movie, Otsutsuki Tonari took Huahua's eyes to open the Tensigen. Now that Huahua has Otsutsuki Tonari's cells, she should also be able to open the Tensigen. In this way, in addition to Hinata, the Hyuga family also has a pair of Rinnegan and a pair of Tensigen. Their strength and status will definitely be greatly improved. Even if Hinata is not in the ninja world, he doesn't need to worry about his family at all. It is worth mentioning that Hinata has already looked at the baby in his mother's belly with supercilious eyes. Hyogo's years of expectation and 3 years of hard work have all turned into bubbles. In a few months, Hinata and Huahua will have a cute little sister, and he doesn't know who will benefit in the future. In terms of giving birth to a son, Hyogo completely lost to Uchiha Fugaku, but it's not certain. Now that Hyogo has learned Sage Mode, and there is also the Yin-Yang seal planted by Hinata in his body, which stores a lot of natural energy, which is equivalent to carrying a small holy land around at all times. Now he has begun to try to cultivate the Sage Mode. Although the talent of his mother Hyuga Minako is a little worse, and continuous childbirth also affects her physique. But with the current foundation of the Hyuga family, it will take some time to catch up. At worst, he will bring back a sacred tree later. In this way, Hyogo will have a lot of time to make a little person in the future, and maybe one day he will be able to pay for everything and give birth to a son. While eating with Huahua, Hinata thought about having a child. Should I also make a child to play with? If I use Yin-Yang release, it seems to be easy to have a child by myself. If I don't understand something, I can ask Kagaya. Hinata shook his head. Let's wait a few years. Now Hinata is only 16 years old, and he was still in high school in his previous life. It is a bit early to have a child. Well, Sunflower will come out later. Even if Huahua grows up, the little sister can be a pillow for several years. Chapter 624. The dull and busy days made Hinata feel like grass was growing on his head. The world has changed a lot. Although Ninja doesn't understand politics or economics, after all, he has governed a village, so he still has some experience in management. Now that the world is managed by ninjas, it's nothing more than using the experience of governing a village to govern the world. Well, in short, it's just a mess. But there's still one advantage for ninjas managing the world. That is, bandits, robbers, and other dark forces have basically disappeared. Society is stable and harmonious, and many things are more convenient. At least for the people at the bottom, their life is a lot better. They don't have to worry about being robbed by bandits, and they don't have to pay excessive taxes. Since the civilians are stable, business is naturally prosperous. Businessmen don't have to hire ninjas to protect them, and the stable society makes more people start to do business, and the high business tax also brings more income to the country. What conditions did the businessmen in the past have to meet to do business? It's not enough to buy goods, you also have to have money to hire ninjas. Where do you get the money to hire ninjas? Of course, it's from the civilians. In the past, the price of goods transported from the land of fire to the land of wind can be 4 to 10 times higher. Businessmen have to consider the cost of transportation, the cost of hiring manpower, business taxes, customs duties when entering other countries, and the cost of hiring ninjas. If the goods transported are too few, they won't make much money. Now that the businessmen don't need ninjas to protect them, the price of import and export goods is naturally reduced. Otherwise, why do you think the land of wind is so poor? The geographical factor is only one, and the other is because of the ninjas. If the sand-hidden village wants to survive, they must let a large number of bandits in the land of wind. Of course, these bandits are also very smart. They won't rob caravans protected by ninjas. They will only rob caravans that can't afford ninjas and want to try their luck. In this way, the country's economy can't develop at all. Almost in just a few months, the whole world's economy began to develop at a high level. Under the economic drive, the life of the civilians at the bottom is also a lot better. Although they can't get rich, At least they don't have to worry about food and clothing. Hinata also fulfilled his promise. In the original land of wind and earth, he used the tree world several times, which greatly changed the local environment. He believed that in a few years, the soil in these two places would also become fertile. My Love's Puppet Technology Institute also had a huge breakthrough, and many ninjas were already driving chakra-powered cars. In addition to some basic puppet technology, the puppet car also had Tsunade's IN seal. Ninjas only need to store the chakra that they don't usually use in the car, and they can basically drive it for several days. Generally speaking, the amount of chakra wasted by a Chunin-level ninja in a day is enough for a car to run more than 1,000 kilometers. After all, it wasn't used for battle. If it was only used for driving, the amount of chakra consumed was actually very little. There were even some rich people who sold a few cars and spent money to get ninjas to refuel them, which greatly improved the convenience of transportation. Although Hinata didn't know anything, he had seen the metropolises in his previous life. Let's just develop according to my previous life. Road repair. Building a house. Increase agricultural productivity. Anyway, with ninjas as combat power and chakra as energy, the technology tree of this world can definitely improve people's livelihood. As for military technology, before chakra metal is cultivated, there is no need at all. Puppets made of wood are still too weak. But if there is enough chakra metal, ninjas can even drive up to Gundam. Although ninjas today don't need to do missions, their chakra is very valuable. Hinata and Tsunade studied for 3 days and 3 nights before they successfully developed a device that can store chakra. Ninjas can receive a commission by importing a part of chakra every day. And this chakra can be used in many places. All kinds of puppet technology require chakra to drive. Especially agricultural technology, although it has greatly improved agricultural productivity, but due to the lack of chakra, the development of agriculture is still limited. Especially now that railways have begun to be built everywhere. According to the budget of the parliament, if they want to complete the grand plan in Hinata's mind, the world needs about 1 million chunin. Originally, some people were worried about how ninjas will survive without missions in the future. But with the development of puppet technology, ninja has completely become the most honorable profession in society. In the past, people were only afraid of ninjas, but now they respect ninjas. Ninja's chakra does have the power to change the world. Ninjas don't need to do missions, they can earn enough money every day. For this reason, Hinata has sold chakra several times. In Tsunade's words, Hinata's chakra alone is enough to support the development of the entire ninja world. It is worth mentioning that although Hinata and Tsunade have a lot of contradictions before, especially when Hinata framed the 3 holy lands, the relationship between the two has reached a freezing point. But now the two sides have compromised, and Hinata doesn't really have to destroy Wonderful Mountain and Shikatsu Forest. In addition, both of them are not stingy people, and now the relationship between Hinata and Tsunade has been restored. Even Jiraiya. After Hinata forced Jiraiya to treat him to a few meals, Jiraiya also laughed, overlooking the past contradictions. After all, the development of today's ninja world is obvious to all, and it is indeed 100 times better than the previous situation. For these older ninjas, as long as the children don't have to go to the battlefield, they are already satisfied. Orochimaru also secretly returned, and is currently working under Hinata. However, the development of the organizations is a little bit bad. He doesn't know if someone leaked the news, but in short, the people who secretly contacted the organizations are just some small characters. Hinata thinks that these people are just the pawns of those ambitious people, so he has been hiding the organizations. There are only 2 things in today's ninja world: development and training ninjas. Hinata ordered that ninjas in the future will be divided into combat ninjas and lifestyle ninjas. After all, ninjas are armed forces after all. Isn't there a saying that if you have a sharp weapon, you will be able to kill? With power, you will often choose to use force to solve problems. And combat ninjas really don't need so much. A jonin is almost equivalent to hundreds of chunin. The development of the ninja world is quite rapid. Take the Imperial City for example. It has expanded more than 10 times in just a few months. There are no walls. Anyway, Hinata doesn't believe that anyone would dare to attack the Imperial City under his nose. With the help of ninjas, all the old buildings in the Imperial City were rebuilt. And the new buildings are very beautiful, absolutely in line with Hinata's aesthetic. The Imperial Palace has also been built, and it covers a small area. After all, only Hinata will live in it in the future, and it will be separated from the Hyuga residence. Next, it was time for the official coronation ceremony. Chapter 625. Hinata participated in the ceremony of Tsunade succeeding the fifth Naruto. The ceremony was very grand, and almost all the people of Shinobu participated in the ceremony. But at the same time, the ceremony was also very simple. Tsunade only said one sentence, and then took the hat representing the position of Naruto from the hands of the advisor, and the ceremony was over. Hinata originally wanted to make his ascension ceremony simple. After all, it was just a formality, and Hinata didn't particularly care about it. However, the king and Naruto were different. Even if Hinata wanted to make it simple, others wouldn't agree. The meaning of the ascension ceremony was to announce to the world and tell everyone Hinata's orthodox position. Only when Hinata's position is legitimate can the country be truly established. This kind of thing seems to be useless, but in fact, it has a great significance. Let's talk about the simplest chestnut. Leader and team members. As long as you see these two words, the first impression in everyone's mind is that the leader manages the team members, and the team members must listen to the leader's arrangements. This is the name. Everyone uses different words to represent different meanings, but the meaning of the words must be widely recognized in order to play the role of the words. Hinata's empress status is the same. The meaning of the word empress is to be able to manage the people of the world, but this meaning must be announced to the world through a grand ceremony. To tell everyone that daimyo has been replaced by empress from now on. In short, Hinata is tired. Fortunately, everyone knows Hinata's character. Everything in the ceremony is handled by someone, and Hinata is just going through the motions. Otherwise, Hinata will have to quit. Hinata, have you really decided? In the palace, Hyogo looked at Hinata with a serious face, and a complicated expression flashed between his eyebrows. Hinata nodded. In a month, I will leave the ninja world. I can't be confined to a small planet. Hyogo sighed softly. He knew that this day would come sooner or later, but he didn't expect it to come so soon. The threat of the Otsutsuki clan is gradually approaching the shinobi world. Hinata must grow up as soon as possible, otherwise, everything in this world will turn into a bubble. Be careful, Hyogo said seriously. Don't worry about the family. With that, Hyogo slowly got up and left. Hinata didn't say much. Although he was reluctant, he was also very helpless. Hinata suddenly thought that if he had performed mediocre from the start, would the current situation have been better? Even if he has the strength, he will try to hide it as much as possible, and let everything follow the original plot, so that the crisis of the shinobi world will be solved by Naruto and Sasuke, and Hinata can hide behind to enjoy himself. Unlike now, even if Hinata wanted to slack off, he couldn't. Whether it is a sense of responsibility or a sense of crisis, they are driving Hinata to move forward. Obviously, he doesn't want to care about things, but he also doesn't want to see them destroyed. Alas, I'm really looking for trouble. Hinata was a little annoyed. Your Majesty, Uchiha Sasuke requests an audience. A maid stood at the door and reported. Hinata sighed. Let him in. Sasuke is still the same. The change of status will not affect Sasuke's attitude. Hinata asked curiously, Sasuke, why are you here? A few days ago, Hinata didn't see Sasuke at the coronation ceremony. Why did he suddenly come back at this time? Sasuke slowly closed his eyes, and then suddenly opened them. Hinata froze for a moment. Have you already cultivated the sage body? Although it is a question, it is still expected. After absorbing the chakra, Sasuke is only one step away from the sage body, and with the fusion of Hashirama's cells, it is even easier to cultivate the sage body. Sasuke said lightly, I tried. Hinata raised an eyebrow. Sasuke came at this time. It is obvious that he wants to leave the ninja world with Hinata and Kagaya. It seems that after having the sage body, Sasuke can already survive in outer space. What about time? Hinata asked. It is not enough to survive in the vacuum of the universe. If you want to travel in space, you must have a long time. In the vast universe, you may not be able to find food. The food of other planets may not be suitable for humans. Sasuke said indifferently, it's not a big problem. The sage body can survive in the vacuum of the universe, and the Rinnegan can control the repulsion and gravity to float. Sasuke's biggest problem now is that there is no supply, and he doesn't know the space-time ninjutsu. However, in terms of strength alone, Sasuke is also a good combat power. The tactical value of heavenly hand power is great. Good. I understand. Hinata nodded. Kagaya and I are going to leave in a month. During this month, you will live in the Imperial City. Sasuke turned around and was about to leave, but suddenly stopped at the door, and a flat voice came lightly. Hinata, are you interested in fighting with me now? Hinata couldn't help but put his hand on his forehead. This guy is really on a whim again? No. I'm too tired. Hinata shook his head again and again. Although fighting Sasuke is a daily thing, it is necessary to eat and drink enough, and sleep enough. In a few days, Hinata thought for a moment, when I want to fight, I will come to you. Or you can try to find Kagaya? Hearing the word Kagaya, Sasuke was slightly moved. Sasuke doesn't know the level of sage body and chakra. According to the information that Sasuke now knows, he may think that he is already on the same level as Hinata and Kagaya. It's just right to let Sasuke test Kagaya. Hinata's eyes flickered. Kagaya has been studying ninjutsu, and everything related to ninja in the past few months. For such a long time, Hinata also wants to see Kagaya's progress and analyze the threat of the Otsutsuki clan. As we all know, vigilance will gradually degrade with the comfortable environment. In a battle, vigilance would often directly affect the direction of the battle. Hinata's omniscience seems to be unsolvable, but the Strong's perception of crisis can't be underestimated. Does the Otsutsuki clan, who has been comfortable for a long time, still have a sixth sense of crisis? Hinata recalled the Otsutsuki Kagaya in the original work, and her performance in battle was simply slag. Kagaya used such a powerful move in Heaven's defense like dogshit. The gravitational environment actually affected him as well. Well, Hinata muttered and tapped his fingers on the table. If Kagaya can have the quality of a ninja in just a few months, then the threat of the Otsutsuki clan must be raised by several levels. At least, in the following space travel, all the Otsutsuki clan who have seen ninjutsu can't be left alive. Chapter 626. 7 days later, Imperial City Ninja Hospital. Why is it you again? Looking at Sasuke, who was covered in blood and badly injured, Jinin complained and asked the nurse to ask Tsunade to come over for treatment. This is the second time Sasuke has visited the ninja hospital in these 7 days, and the injuries are more serious each time. Although Jinin didn't roll her eyes, she is also a veteran medical ninja. With a little examination, she can see that Sasuke's internal injuries are far more serious than external injuries. If it was an ordinary person who was injured like this, Jinin would have informed the family to prepare for the funeral. But although Sasuke's injuries are serious, the speed of recovery is also extremely fast. The last time Sasuke was injured so badly, Jinin was scared to death, but Sasuke recovered in just 5 days. Sasuke's eyes twitched. Hinata and Kagaya, these two guys don't know what mercy is. After seriously injuring Sasuke, they didn't care and let Sasuke crawl to the hospital for treatment. In Hinata's words, this is to teach Sasuke a lesson, so that he won't always challenge the strong on a whim. After cleaning up Sasuke, Hinata is not only in a good mood, but also has a good appetite, and even the fatigue of this period is swept away. I miscalculated. Hinata's face was full of annoyance. If I knew this, I would have beaten Sasuke earlier. If I beat him once a week, I can eat more. But even so, Hinata's heart is full of worry. Kagaya has become stronger. The current Kagaya is like Vegeta who came to the Earth in Dragon Ball. Although the hardware strength has not improved, the software has improved several levels. The use of ninjutsu in the ninja world is like a treasure for the Otsutsuki clan. Opening this treasure, the strength of this clan will quickly improve. Hinata now only hopes that the Otsutsuki clan can be arrogant and disdain the ninjutsu of the ninja world. Because only in this way will they not put their eyes on the ninja world. Otherwise, once Hinata enters the universe and comes in contact with the Otsutsuki clan, he will instantly attract strong enemies to the ninja world. But thinking about it carefully, the Otsutsuki clan is obsessed with planting trees. They may not pay attention to the use of ninjutsu. Learning ninjutsu is far less than absorbing a chakra fruit. Then there is no problem. Thinking of this, Hinata was also temporarily relieved. As long as he doesn't attract strong enemies, there is absolutely no danger in this space trip. As long as she doesn't encounter an enemy of a higher level. Even if the Otsutsuki clan sends a powerhouse of Kagaya's level, Hinata is confident in dealing with it. Speaking of confidence, Hinata suddenly thought of something. Hinata in the future Sasuke's spacetime. Even if she is not as strong as Hinata, with the magic of omniscience and omnipotence, she can seal Kagaya chakra in an instant. But she returned to the ninja world. And according to the future Sasuke, Hinata in that spacetime didn't seem to get any benefits in the universe. She only became strong after absorbing the Otsutsuki peach chakra fruit. It can't be. Hinata calmed down in an instant. It is difficult to kill Kagaya chakra, but if it is just a seal, other Otsutsuki clan can help to lift the seal. In this way, it is bound to expose something and attract the pursuit of the Otsutsuki clan. So, even if you are evenly matched with an enemy of the same level, you must not expose your trump card and cause the Otsutsuki clan to be afraid. Hinata suddenly realized. Yes, an ordinary man is innocent, but treasuring a jade ring is a crime. For the Otsutsuki clan, it doesn't matter if you rob a few sacred trees, and the clan will only send small soldiers to chase you. With this clan's wealth, a few sacred trees are not taken seriously at all. Otherwise, if Kagaya robbed a sacred tree, the Otsutsuki clan wouldn't wait for 1,000 years to send people to recover. But if you expose the sealing technique that can seal them, I am afraid that this clan will go crazy. Sealing technique is the ability that can really threaten the Otsutsuki clan. Hinata quickly turned over a small notebook, summarized the abilities that must not be exposed, and marked the key points. He would rather be entangled with small soldiers than attract the big boss. Hinata breathed a sigh of relief. This time there shouldn't be any danger. Wait! That future pusher. The reason why he transmigrated here was because he wanted to snatch my eye. That noble phantasm plow must not be left behind. Tensigen eye opening. According to the future Sasuke, the noble phantasm plow is hidden somewhere in the ninja world. Huh? Isn't this the treasure of the Otsutsuki clan? This thing shouldn't be brought by Kagaya and Ichiki, right? The reason why Ichiki could survive under Kagaya's sneak attack, maybe he used the plow to escape. No matter what, find the plow first. Connecting to the satellite, Hinata looked deep into the ground, inch by inch, looking for traces of the plow. This is like looking for a needle in a haystack. 5 minutes later, Hinata gave up. The plow is different from the ninja. That thing has no chakra reaction at all. And it is buried underground. Hinata can't find it at all. Let's follow the plot. The plow seems to be first discovered by the archaeological team. But it didn't attract the attention of the ninja at first, so it was taken by Urashi. Hinata pinched his chin. With my current status, as long as the plow appears in the ninja world, I can take it for myself. Thinking like this, Hinata was not worried anymore. Now everything is ready. He just needs to wait for the appointed time with Kagaya to immediately enter the universe and find trouble with the Otsutsuki clan. It's a pity, the former triple god group. Today Hinata and Sasuke have risen, but Naruto is just Naruto. He can't participate in this kind of thing at all. If not so, Hinata, Sasuke, and Naruto reorganize Team 7, plus Otsutsuki Kagaya as the leader of the team. This is definitely the strongest team in the ninja world. At the same time, Mount Myaboku. Naruto was lying on the grass sleeping. The battle with Sasuke a few months ago made Naruto suffer a lot. Sasuke hasn't used all his strength, But Naruto has been unable to resist. If Sasuke didn't want to see Naruto's growth, Naruto would definitely be killed by Sasuke in an instant. However, after months of hard work, the effect is not satisfactory. Even if the control of Sage Mode is stronger, the duration is longer, and he has learned more Senjutsu, but the increase in combat power is extremely limited. Ninetales completely ignored Naruto. This is? It's a very familiar scene, but Naruto hasn't been here for several months. The huge iron gate. Ninetales? No. Who are you? Naruto looked at the white-clothed old man sitting cross-legged in the void with a puzzled expression. Chapter 627. It's you. Ninetales, who was in the iron cage, instantly got up. His hair stood on end. He looked at Sage of Six Paths outside the iron cage with a complicated look in his red eyes. From a certain point of view, Sage of Six Paths could be regarded as Ninetales' father. Without Sage of Six Paths, Ninetales wouldn't have been born, and Ninetales wouldn't have had an independent personality and self. Because of this, Ninetales had a very special feeling for Sage of Six Paths. You know each other? Naruto scratched his head with a blank expression. Sage of Six Paths looked at Naruto calmly, sighed softly and slowly said, Naruto. Naruto asked in a daze. By the way, how did you get here? Sigh. With another sigh, Sage of Six Paths turned his head and looked at Ninetales, and said with a complicated tone, Kurama, long time no see. Ninetales? Naruto looked up at Ninetales and said, So your name is Kurama, what a strange name. Shut up. Ninetales glared at Naruto. Sage of Six Paths sighed slightly, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. Sage of Six Paths came to see Naruto. At the same time, he came to see Ninetales. This might be the last time he saw Ninetales. More than 1,000 years ago, Sage of Six Paths created nine-tailed beasts. Perhaps it was just a casual thing at that time, and the purpose was to prevent chakra from returning to his body. But after all, more than 1,000 years had passed. The moment Kaguya was resurrected, it meant that the nine-tailed beasts' lives had come to an end. This feeling was very uncomfortable. It was as if he was watching with his own eyes the life he had created walk towards its destined end. But Sage of Six Paths was powerless. Although this half of the Nine Tails is still in Naruto's body, Naruto is the last Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. The moment Naruto died, it meant that the Nine Tails had to return to Bright Knight's body. Could he say that Huey was wrong? No. This was because Nine Tails was originally a part of Bright Knight. But Nine Tails wasn't wrong either. Although it was separated from the Jubi had no intelligence, no personality, and no sense of self. Nine Tails, on the other hand, was a free being. In the end, I still can't escape my 1,000-year fate. The immortal of Six Paths sighed and asked, Kurama, do you blame me for creating you? Hagoromo Sannin didn't know if the nine-tailed beasts lived a happy life in the past 1,000 years. Wars, ninjas coveted and hunted them. They were regarded as demons by humans, and they were sealed in the body of Jinchuriki. This was the life of the nine-tailed beasts for the past 1,000 years. Now they were about to face death. Nine Tails showed disdain. Humans always like to be sentimental, even you, Hagoromo Sannin. Nine Tails didn't say anything. In fact, from the day he stopped paying attention to Naruto, he had seen through a lot of things and accepted his fate. Although Jinchuriki was the cage of the tailed beasts, Nine Tails had seen a lot of things in the years he was in the body of Jinchuriki. Mito, Kushina, Naruto, each of them would die, but they lived the value of life. Nine Tails wasn't afraid of death, but he regretted that he hadn't been able to find his own value for more than 1,000 years. He didn't understand the meaning of his life. When you live for the sake of living, it's no different from death. Hagoromo Sannin closed his eyes slightly. He could understand Nine Tails' thoughts at the moment. With Hagoromo Sennin's strength, he actually had a lot of ways to keep himself alive. Even now, he had a way to resurrect himself. But so what? This era doesn't belong to him anymore. What's the difference between being alive and being dead? It's just that the world he lives in is different. Perhaps this was the curse of immortality. Thinking of this, Hagoromo Sannin looked at Naruto with a complicated expression. He didn't know whether it was right or wrong to come to Naruto. No matter how smart he is, he can't see the future. Naruto. But since he came, Hagoromo Sannin wanted to give Naruto the right to choose. Hinata and Sasuke will soon leave this world. Leave. Naruto was confused. What do you mean by leaving this world? You mean they won't die, right? Hagoromo Sannin wanted to roll his eyes. Unfortunately, he couldn't. This world is very big, Naruto. Hagoromo Sannin told Naruto about the vastness of the universe and the legendary Otsutsuki clan. The Otsutsuki clan has discovered this planet, and they are likely to invade here in the near future and destroy the entire ninja world. And the only way to stop them is to become stronger as soon as possible. Hagoromo Sannin looked at Naruto and said, "The human body has a limit, and when the strength reaches the limit, no matter how hard you train, your strength won't improve. This is the limit of lifespan, and also the limit of aging. Only the power of the Tree of Light can break the limit of the human body and make you stronger as soon as possible." Naruto's face gradually became serious. "So Hinata, Sasuke, and Kagaya are going to enter the universe you said to find the Tree of Light to improve their strength?" Although Naruto is a bit stupid, he will never be stupid when it's time to be smart. Although Hagoromo Sannin said a lot, Naruto roughly understood. It's impossible for humans to survive in the universe. There's no air and no food. The only way to enter the universe is to have the body of a sage. Speaking of this, Hagoromo Sannin's face became serious. "It's impossible for you to do it now, only by accepting my power." After saying that, Hagoromo Sannin calmly stretched out his right hand. This is the decision made by Hagoromo Sannin, after a long consideration. He passed a part of his power to Naruto, and let Naruto follow Hinata and Kagaya into the universe. In fact, Hinata and Kagaya don't lack Naruto's power, and if Sasuke didn't want to follow them, Hinata wouldn't even take Sasuke with him. But Hagoromo Sannin has another concern. As an old monster who has lived for more than 1,000 years, Hagoromo Sannin knows the consequences of letting a person stand at the top, and also understands how it feels to be alone. Now Hinata and Kagaya have the Otsutsuki clan as their enemy, and they have a goal to strive for. But what if this goal is gone? When the Otsutsuki clan is defeated, when Hinata and Kagaya stand at the top of the universe, can the same mountain still accommodate two tigers? If not, then the final outcome will inevitably be a fight between the two tigers. Compared to Kagaya, Hagoromo Sannin is more willing to believe in Hinata, who was born in a happy family. Although Hinata has been talking about his bad deeds behind his back, Hagoromo Sannin even heard that Hinata has written him as a villain in the textbook. Hagoromo Sannin is speechless. Naruto and Sasuke may be a force to help Hinata counter Otsutsuki Kagaya at the last moment. This is Hagoromo Sannin's thought. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.